Chapter 116. When the time came, the 9 revolving alchemy furnace stopped rotating and a fragrant smell slowly rose from the furnace, making one feel relaxed and happy. Sogu, 360. So search. Many golden pills were quietly lying at the bottom of the 9 revolving alchemy furnace. These were obviously spirit-gathering pills. The refining was a success. Tang Zheng quickly took out a bottle to collect them. 1, 2, 3. 20 pills. Tang Zheng filled 2 bottles and was pleasantly surprised. How did you refine so many pills this time? 20 pills should last for a long time? When he refined the life-continuing pill, he only refined 3 pills, but this time he refined 20 pills. Moreover, the raw materials did not seem to be much. Tian Chanzi said as a matter of fact, this is the benefit of a magic weapon. If you had used the 9 revolving alchemy furnace to refine the life-continuing pill, you wouldn't have only refined 3 pills. Tang Zheng was like a poor man who suddenly became rich overnight. He was a little excited as he carefully put away the bottles and prepared to drip his blood on the 9 revolving alchemy furnace to recognize it as its master. However, he discovered something strange. Tian Chanzi, did you notice that the 9 revolving alchemy furnace has become smaller? Tang Zheng suspiciously asked. Tian Chanzi muttered to himself for a moment before saying, it is indeed so. This is because the furnace is automatically upgrading. 37. Upgrading? Yes. Didn't I tell you that the 9 revolving alchemy furnace can be restored to an earth-level magic weapon in the future? Every time you refine a pill, it will absorb part of the pill's spiritual nature and level up a little. Doesn't that mean that if I use it to refine pills, its level will slowly recover? Tang Zheng was pleasantly surprised. Of course. But it is only a yellow-level magic weapon. The road is still long, so take it slow. Tang Zheng touched the 9 revolving alchemy furnace and felt a cool sensation in his palm. You said that it is getting smaller and smaller. If it turns into the size of a fist, wouldn't it be easier to carry around? A high-level alchemy furnace can freely expand and contract. The space inside is beyond your imagination. I even heard that it can form a world of its own. Is it that exaggerated? Tang Zheng was extremely shocked. That's just a legend, but I've never heard of anyone's alchemy furnace forming a world of its own. That's something that can only be looked at but not touched. Brat, don't bite off more than you can chew. You'd better hurry up and bind it with your blood. Tang Zheng followed the previous procedure and dripped his blood onto the 9 revolving pill furnace. With a flash of azure light, he and the 9 revolving pill furnace had a mysterious connection. Even if he closed his eyes, he could still feel the existence of the 9 revolving alchemy furnace. However, the 9 revolving alchemy furnace did not speak like Linger. Now that the soul-amassing pill had been successfully concocted, Tang Zheng was finally able to settle one of his worries. He was not in a hurry to practice martial arts, but instead went to buy a house. This was something new. It was not as easy as practicing martial arts. When he casually walked into a bright and clean sales hall, he did not know what to do. However, his problem was immediately solved because the saleswoman took the initiative to welcome him. Tang Zheng began his journey of buying a house with excitement and novelty. However, there were some people who were not excited at all. In fact, they were quite nervous. Feng Chonghua was sitting outside an office, looking at the people coming and going. His expression was a bit absent-minded. He specifically came to visit Fire Phoenix. After experiencing that night, he hesitated for a few days but still came. Because there was no way to proceed with the demolition, the money was still pouring in. If this real estate project stopped, then he would go bankrupt. His funds were linked to one another. As long as there was a mistake, then he would lose everything. He could not afford to lose. Manager Feng, our manager Fire invites you in. Feng Chonghua stood up and quickly followed the secretary into the office. Fire Phoenix was standing in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling window, overlooking the building. Her eyebrows were slightly wrinkled. No one knew what she was thinking. Manager Fire, Manager Feng is here. The secretary said. Fire Phoenix turned around. This time, she was not dressed in martial arts clothes. Instead, she had changed into a sand-colored business suit, giving off a white-collar aura. Feng Chonghua already had a new understanding of Fire Phoenix. These past few days, he specifically inquired about Fire Phoenix and Lin Hu's background. If he didn't inquire, then he wouldn't know. Once he inquired, He was shocked. These two people turned out to be ordinary balance, famous big shots in the underworld. This was really beyond his expectation. What made him even more surprised was that Tang Zheng and these big shots actually had such a close personal relationship. This made him both shocked and frightened. In short, his perception of Tang Zheng had undergone an earth-shattering change. Therefore, these past few days, he did not deliberately prevent his daughter from contacting Tang Zheng. Feng Chonghua had been doing business for so many years. Of course, he knew that people in the underworld could not be easily provoked. He also did this before. He stayed away from them and lived in peace. That was because his previous business did not need to deal with these people. Now that he had entered the real estate business, he realized the importance of relationships in the underworld. First of all, this demolition involved relationships in the underworld. He also truly understood why Fire Phoenix's demolition went so smoothly. Because she was a big shot in the underworld. Naturally, she had her ways. Moreover, the follow-up construction involved earth, stone, and other links. It was inevitable that there would be more or less contact with people in the underworld. The water in the real estate business was too deep. In the past, he only envied others for making a lot of money, but he did not consider the risks. Now that one of his feet had fallen in, it would be difficult for him to withdraw. Therefore, he could only hope to have a good relationship with these people. Manager Feng, please sit. Fire Phoenix's heroic spirit converged a lot. She now had a woman's unique elegance. Manager Feng, I heard you want to cooperate with our company? Feng Chonghua nodded his head. Yes, this is the purpose of my visit today. I want to discuss the cooperation with Manager Fire. I have a piece of land that needs to be demolished. Before he could finish his words, Fire Phoenix waved her hand, indicating him to stop. Feng Chonghua blankly looked at her. He did not know what she meant. Fire Phoenix looked at him with a smile that was not a smile. Seeing this, his scalp went numb. He blankly asked, Manager Fire, is there a problem? Do you know Tang Zheng? Fire Phoenix went straight to the point and asked. Feng Chonghua was stunned for a moment. He did not know why she would ask this question. Manager Fire, let's talk about the cooperation first. We can talk about this later. See the guest out. Fire Phoenix said with a cold expression. Feng Chonghua was stunned. What was going on? I didn't even finish speaking and she didn't want to talk about it anymore. Looking at her ice-cold expression, Feng Chonghua felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He felt a chill run down his spine. But his reaction was very quick. He immediately realized that Fire Phoenix was more interested in Tang Zheng than business. He felt a huge sense of defeat and hurriedly said, Then let's talk about Tang Zheng first. Fire Phoenix's cold expression disappeared by a lot. She put on an expression of listening attentively. Feng Chonggua's heart was filled with a huge sense of powerlessness as he said, Tang Zheng is an orphan. He was adopted by an old man who scavenged for scraps. He is currently studying at Pengcheng International School. In the past, his grades were very good, but now his grades are very bad. He is the last in the entire school. Fire Phoenix's lips curled up. She did not think that what Tang Zheng said was true. He really was the last in the entire school. Interesting. As for other aspects, he is no different from other people of the same age. Feng Chonghua was also very puzzled about Tang Zheng's situation. On the surface, there was nothing special about him. But why were these powerful people interested in him? Why were the people of the underworld so respectful to him? Even the Feng family was courteous to him. He felt that the world was in complete chaos. He was unable to find north. It's that simple? Fire Phoenix asked with dissatisfaction. This was the result of her investigation. But it clearly did not match the actual situation. It's that simple. Feng Chonghua said. Then do you know what his relationship with Lin Hu is? Feng Chonghua blankly shook his head. If only he knew earlier. But this matter was too strange. How could Tang Zheng be related to people of the underworld? Fire Phoenix could not hide her disappointment as she said, Your daughter is his girlfriend. Don't tell me you don't have any other information? Feng Chonghua revealed a trace of awkwardness as he shook his head. Manager Feng, don't blame me for not teaching you. Not making use of useful resources and rejecting them is not something a businessman should do. That's all I have to say. Please leave. Fire Phoenix finished speaking and returned to her seat. She buried her head in the documents and no longer paid attention to him. Feng Chonghua felt as if he had been paralyzed. His head buzzed as he did not understand why things had turned out this way. Fire Phoenix clearly did not want to cooperate with him. If not for wanting to inquire about Tang Zheng's information, she probably would not have even met with him. He really wanted to get angry. It has been many years since he had been angered like this. But in the end, the wolf had the upper hand. Fire Phoenix was the boss of the underworld. To go against her, he was tired of living. He stood up in a daze. He did not even know how he left the office. Walking on the street, he looked up at the sun. The glaring sunlight made him squint his eyes. But his eyes were still lifeless. He really wanted to roar towards the sky. But he knew that it was useless. He resentfully looked back at Fire Phoenix's office with an indescribable look of dismay. Could it be that this time I really can't pass this hurdle? I have worked hard for most of my life and finally achieved what I have today. Could it be that because of this matter, I will lose everything? He was not willing. But what was the use of this? Fire Phoenix clearly did not want to help him. Who could he look for? Business friends? Don't joke around. Others could not wait for him to be unlucky. In business there was too much deception. How could there be real friends? Everyone was together because of benefits. If they could hit him while he was down, the other party would definitely not mind ruthlessly stepping on him. Don't blame me for not teaching you. Not making use of useful resources and rejecting them is not something a businessman should do. Fire Phoenix's words suddenly popped up in his mind. He was shocked. These words were not simple. There was a deeper meaning behind them. This useful resource was obviously referring to Tang Zheng. Yes, Fire Phoenix was interested in Tang Zheng. As long as Tang Zheng opened his mouth, Fire Phoenix would definitely agree. Then this stalemate could be broken. Tang Zheng was the person who would break this stalemate. He was like a person walking in the desert who suddenly saw water. Every cell in his body was activated. His brain was unprecedentedly active. His listless eyes gradually brightened up. He wanted to find Tang Zheng. Chapter 117. Feng Chonghua immediately returned home, preparing to have his daughter find Tang Zheng. Shi Mengqin was frightened by his anxious appearance and immediately asked for the reason. These few days, Shi Mengqin's days were not good as her husband was cold to her. Even though she did not think she did anything wrong, she was still cautious, not daring to touch her husband's bad luck. Feng Chonghua did not have time to explain to her and directly asked where his daughter was. Shi Mengqin angrily said, "She was called out by that little brat and no matter what I did, I could not stop her." "Then I'll call her," Feng Chonghua impatiently said. "Right, call her back. She and that little brat together will easily learn bad things. This time she won't even listen to her mother's words. It must be that little brat behind her back, saying bad things about me." "Don't speak." Feng Chonghua unhappily stopped her. Shi Mengqin immediately kept quiet out of fear, not knowing why her husband was so angry. It was as if he had eaten gunpowder. Sure. Are you with Tang Zheng?" The call connected and Feng Chonghua hurriedly asked. "Yes." Feng Sure did not hide it. Ever since the two's relationship was made public, she did not plan to hide it. Instead, she openly exposed it in front of her parents. She wanted to create an established fact, letting her parents get used to Tang Zheng's existence. "Where are you guys?" "Upwind Water." This was one of Ordinary Balance's buildings. "Okay, you guys wait for me there and don't run around. I'll come find you guys and we'll be there soon." Feng Chonghua finished speaking and walked towards his car. Shi Mengqin's eyebrows jumped and said with interest, "I'll also go. I want to see what this little brat is up to." "Mengqin, let me tell you, when you see Tang Zheng, you must have a good attitude." Feng Chonghua stopped and solemnly warned. "What?" Shi Mengqin was flabbergasted. "Aren't we going to denounce him and bring Sure back?" "Who said we're going to denounce him? We have a request for Tang Zheng, so we must have a good attitude. You never gave him a good face, so this time you must perform well and reverse the bad impression." Feng Chonghua was filled with regret. The current situation was all caused by his own family. He had personally pushed Tang Zheng to the opposite side. Shi Mengqin blankly looked at her husband. What was going on? Her mind was completely unable to react. Get in the car. Don't dawdle. Remember what I told you. Feng Chonghua had already started the car. Only then did Xi Mengqin absent-mindedly sit in the car, still feeling dizzy. The car sped to Shangfeng Shui, and the two of them finally saw Tang Zheng and Feng Shishir in the sales hall. Looking at the two of them from afar, Mr. and Mrs. Feng were guessing what they were doing here. It was a novel idea to arrange a date here. Of course, Tang Zheng was here to buy a house. He still had 700,000 yuan, which was just enough to buy a small house. However, he had already seen a few buildings. Although the sales lady had said a lot, he still hadn't made up his mind. Houses had always been the most important commodity for the people of the country. This was the place to settle down, so it must be carefully selected. Tang Zheng also did not have any experience, so in the end, he decided to call Feng Shishir over. In this aspect, she was a bit more knowledgeable. Although the sales lady saw that the two of them looked like high school students, she still did not look down on them. In this society, there were many low-key rich people. Although they were young, their families were rich. Who knows, if they were in a good mood, they might just buy a house. Tang Zheng listened until his head was spinning. He discovered that buying a house was much more difficult than cultivating. On the contrary, Feng Shishir listened with great interest. From time to time, she would ask a few questions, but she was always able to get to the point. This made the sales lady feel that the other party was not here to play around. Tang Zheng saw Feng Shishir and Xi Mengqin from afar. He pursed his lips at Feng Shishir, causing her expression to become a bit awkward. After all, the relationship between her boyfriend and her family was really bad. Shishir, what are you two doing here? Feng Chonghua asked with a smile. His smile was as amiable as possible, causing Tang Zheng to be stunned. Did the sun rise from the west? Little Tang, how are you? I haven't seen you for a few days. How are your injuries? Feng Chonghua asked with concern. It's already healed. Tang Zheng suspiciously looked at him. If things were abnormal, then there must be a demon. He did not dare to lower his guard. Young people's bodies are really good. They recover quickly. What are you two doing? Buying a house. The Feng couple were both shocked. They knew that with Tang Zheng's family conditions, how could he buy a house? Xi Mengqin's heart moved. Her face immediately became gloomy. She believed that Tang Zheng must have instigated Feng Shishir to buy a house for him. No wonder he called her over. It was truly a good plan. How long had it been and he was already eyeing the Feng family's property? He was truly too despicable. The anger in Xi Mengqin's heart immediately flared up. After losing her wolf, she had completely forgotten her husband's warning. She angrily said, Tang Zheng, you are young yet you don't learn well. You actually beat around the bush and think of ways to take my family's property. You are too vicious. Could it be that you learned this in school? No wonder your grades are so bad and you are the last in school. Once these words were spoken, the entire room was silent. Even the sales lady could not help but look at Tang Zheng. Was this true? This boy looked so delicate and pretty. How could he be so despicable? Tang Zheng froze for a moment. His face also sank. The feeling of being framed was not good. Moreover, Xi Mengqin had repeatedly believed that he was together with Feng Shishir for the Feng family's property. This was unbearable. You are not only insulting me, you are also insulting your daughter. Do you understand? Tang Zheng's tone became even more serious. Hung, you still dare to twist words and resort to sophistry. I will let everyone see your true face. Don't think that I don't know what you are thinking. Xi Mengqin became more and more energetic as she spoke. Feng Shishir was so angry that her entire body trembled. She was both heartbroken and angry. Why couldn't her own mother support her? Why did she have to oppose her and even insult Tang Zheng like this? Mom, how can you be like this? This is not what you think. It is Tang Zheng who wants to buy a house with his own money. Where does he have the money? Do you think that he can rely on his grandfather who picks up junk to earn money to buy a house? What a joke. He will definitely make you pay in the end. You silly girl. Xi Mengqin continued to ridicule. You shut up. Suddenly, Feng Chonghua loudly roared as he angrily stared at his wife. He wished that he could skin her alive. He came to ask for help from Tang Zheng, but not only did she not help, She even added fuel to the fire. This time he was truly finished. Chonghua, what I said was the truth. We must guard against this little brat's sinister intentions. Shi Mengqin continued to blabber on but saw a palm flying towards her. Pa! A crisp slap sounded out and her voice came to an abrupt stop. Shi Mengqin was dumbstruck as she stood there like a wooden puppet. She simply could not believe what had just happened. Feng Chonghua slapped her. He was her husband and had never hit her before. This was the first time. Feng Chonggua's face became the color of pig liver. His lungs were about to explode from anger. Everyone else was also stunned. Especially the sales lady. From the start, she could tell that this couple was rich because they came out of the luxurious car outside. But the key point was, what was going on? The wife was shouting herself hoarse and criticizing the little handsome boy while the husband was flustered and exasperated as he slapped her. Even acting in a movie did not have such ups and downs. Dad, you! Feng Sheshe stared at her father. Hang, don't listen to her nonsense. She doesn't understand anything. Feng Chonghua said with a lingering anger. Shi Mengqin finally came back to her senses. The pain on her face was very clear. This was not a dream but reality. She said with fear and anger. Feng Chonghua, you actually dare to hit me. Shut up. Do you think you haven't lost enough face? Feng Chonghua roared. Shi Mengqin saw an unprecedented anger on her husband's face. Her heart trembled as she finally felt a bit of fear. She did not dare to speak again. Dad, don't be so fierce. It's so scary. If you have something to say it properly. Feng Sheshe advised but still felt as if she was in the clouds. Feng Chonghua squeezed out a smile at his daughter and said, If only your mother was as reasonable as you. Then he looked at Tang Zheng and made his tone as amiable as possible and said, Tang Zheng, don't be angry at her. She is used to being unreasonable. Tang Zheng did not bat an eyelid as he had already seen some clues. Last time, Feng Chonghua did not have such a good attitude towards him. There must be a reason for this 180-degree change. Seeing Tang Zheng not say a word, Feng Chonghua squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying and said, You want to buy a house, right? You don't need to waste your money. Our family still has a few houses. You can choose one to live in. What? Everyone else was shocked. Just now, Shi Mengqin was still saying that Tang Zheng was doing this for the Feng family's property. Now, she took the initiative to give him a house. This change was just too big. Tang Zheng suddenly stared blankly at Feng Chonghua. He did not come back to his senses as he stared blankly at Feng Chonghua. The sales lady stared at this group of people as if they were aliens. This little handsome brother's charm was just too great. He did not even conquer his mother-in-law and instead conquered his father-in-law. Moreover, from the looks of it, his father-in-law seemed to be trying to curry favor with him. But didn't they just say that this little handsome brother's family was poor? Could it be that the world has changed and the poor are now so popular that the rich like to give to the poor? In short, this change made everyone present feel that it was inconceivable. Shi Mengqin clearly wanted to flip out but was afraid of her husband's anger, so she did not dare to speak. In the corner of the sales hall, a graceful figure looked at this scene with interest. It was hard to hide the shock on her face, but there was also a trace of anger in her eyes as her gaze focused on Tang Zheng. This person was Lu Qingmei. She hatefully thought. Tang Zheng, you actually dared to lie to me. You said that you were taking a leave of absence to recuperate at home. This lively appearance. Where does it look like you are recuperating? Moreover, you came to buy a house with Feng Sheshe and so many things have happened. I think you just want to avoid your promise with me and not participate in the monthly exam. Just you wait. I will definitely take care of you. Tang Zheng never would have thought that he would bump into Lu Qingmei when he came to buy a house because she was also buying a house. Chapter 118. Lu Qingmei had only been in ordinary balance for a little over a year, and now that the rent was about to expire, she was preparing to buy a house. Today, she finally had a month off and came to look at houses. She never thought that she would run into Tang Zheng and Feng Sheshe. She was not in a hurry to greet them and instead deliberately hid in a corner to observe the two. She was very curious as to why they were looking at a house. It couldn't be that they were going to live together so quickly. Even if they were living together, they couldn't possibly buy a house. Therefore, she planned to wait and see what the two were going to do. She never thought that she would see such an unforeseen event and be stunned. When she heard Feng Chonghua say that he was going to gift a house to Tang Zhang, Lu Qingmei's eyebrows knitted together. The words of a rich person were not as simple as the literal meaning. Moreover, Feng Chonghua was one of the board members of Pengcheng International School. She had heard that he was not a kind person who would casually gift a house to someone. Moreover, it was rumored that the Feng family was very opposed to the relationship between Tang Zhang and Feng Shishir. This could be seen from Xi Mingqin's reaction just now. But the key was Feng Chonghua's attitude. Why did he tempt Tang Zhang with benefits? Lu Qingmei did not think that Feng Chonghua was bored enough to tease Tang Zhang. It was very clear that Feng Chonghua was serious. She could not understand all of this. Tang Zhang also could not understand. But he understood the other party. This change from arrogance to respect was too great, causing him to be somewhat on guard. He lightly said, "I appreciate your good intentions, but I have the money to buy a house myself. Don't misunderstand. I really want to gift it to you. I also have a house here in Upper Wind Mountain that has been renovated a long time ago. Now that I'm giving it to you, it can be considered as making the best use of it and not wasting it." Seeing Tang Zhang refuse, Feng Chonghua was secretly astonished and began to value him even more. If he was able to withstand this kind of temptation, was he still a normal person? What he did not know was that Tang Zhang was taught by his grandfather to not accept a reward without any effort. Of course, he would not accept the other party's gift for no reason. Feng Shishir looked at her father curiously, but she didn't think too much about it. She just thought that her father was trying to ease his relationship with Tang Zhang, which was what she looked forward to the most. Therefore she tugged at Tang Zhang's hand and whispered, "My father means well. Just accept it. This kindness is too precious." Tang Zhang refused. He always felt that Feng Chonghua's change was a little strange. If it was because of the last meal, it would not have been delayed until now. All in all, Tang Zhang would not accept this kind of kindness without knowing the ins and outs of the matter. When the saleswoman saw Tang Zhang reject her, she really wanted to say that if you don't want to give it to me, I will definitely go crazy with joy. However, she also looked at Tang Zhang even more curiously. Tang Zhang had become the center of attention, but he didn't show the slightest difference. He just looked at Feng Chonghua thoughtfully. Feng Chonghua had a troubled look on his face. He thought for a moment and said, "Tang Zhang, can you come out and talk to me alone?" "Okay." Tang Zhang agreed. "Sure. Look after your mother," Feng Chonghua ordered. Feng Shishir nodded and gave Tang Zhang an encouraging look. She whispered, "Have a good talk with my father. I don't think he is against our relationship anymore. You have to seize this opportunity." Tang Zhang nodded calmly and followed Feng Chonghua out of the sales hall. Feng Chonghua took out a cigarette and lit it. He took a deep breath and saw Tang Zhang come over. He passed the cigarette to him, but Tang Zhang shook his head and refused. "It's good that you don't smoke. Smoking is bad for your health." Feng Chonghua put the cigarette back in his pocket. His eyes narrowed slightly as he hid behind the light smoke. His expression was somewhat dignified. Tang Zhang also chose to remain silent and looked into the distance. "Do you really like my daughter?" Feng Chonghua blew out a smoke ring and finally spoke. Tang Zhang nodded heavily. "I really do." Feng Chonghua looked at him through the smoke ring and said, "I haven't seen a young man like you in many years. Persistent and fearless. It is difficult for outside people or things to affect your decisions." Tang Zhang's lips curled up slightly. "Perhaps this is my temper. I can't change it. You have to know that we are Shishir's parents. The matter between the two of you will ultimately require our approval." Tang Zhang's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at Feng Chonghua. He did not say a word and seemed to be thinking about what to say. In that moment, Feng Chonghua saw many things in his swollen eyes. There was a little frivolity and a strong confidence. This confidence was something that even he did not have. In the end, humans would always have fear and scruples. Therefore, although he kept saying that he was confident, it was very difficult for him to really be confident. However, Feng Chonghua could see that confidence in his pair of black eyes. Tang Zhang did not seem to take the difficulty that Feng Chonghua mentioned seriously. It was as if he could do it if he wanted to. Feng Chonghua had to admit that he was shaken by his pair of eyes. Of course, he did not know where Tang Zhang's confidence came from. His confidence came from the secrets he possessed. He was already a cultivator and compared to mortals, he was a person from a different world. Although his cultivation was not very high, his horizons were already extraordinary. This was definitely not because he was looking at the top of his head or biting off more than he could chew. The matter between me and Shershur, I will always believe that it is between the two of us. Even if others have a little opinion, as long as the two of us do not have any opinion, then this matter will not be a problem. Tang Zheng said softly. He was not in a rush, but his confidence was truly emitted. Feng Chonghua took a deep breath. Only now did he truly face Tang Zheng. He also understood why Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix valued him so much. He really had the ability to match them. But if her family does not object, then wouldn't this matter be icing on the cake? Feng Chonghua asked. Tang Zheng did not comment. Moreover, Shershur will care about our attitude. If you really like her, then you should care about her feelings, don't you think so? Tang Zheng could not deny that with Feng Shershur's personality, she would ultimately care about her parents' attitude. So before I tried to make you accept her, but you ignored me. Tang Zheng did not know why the other party had changed so much today. Since the other party had mentioned this point, he might as well open up the problem. That's right. In the past, we did ignore you and even provoked you, but it's undeniable that parents want their daughters to have a good home. With the conditions you showed in the past, of course, we thought that you and Shershur are not suitable. A good home? Tang Zheng snorted. Your so-called good home is money and power? Have you ever thought about the opinion of the person involved? Does she like money or power? You might say that when she is a little older, she will understand your good intentions, but I want to say that this is all bullshit. Tang Zhang and Tian Chanzi had been together for a long time, and occasionally liked to spew out one or two vulgarities. When two people are together, the most important thing is that they like each other. External conditions are secondary. Only when the heart is the same, then they will truly be together. Moreover, if a man truly loves a woman, he will not be lazy, but will do everything possible to make her happy. Therefore, in the end, this woman will obtain love and material things together, and will not become a puppet enslaved by material things. Boy, well said. I did not expect you to have a talent for speech. Tian Chanzi excitedly praised. If he was given a pair of hands, he would definitely clap until his palms turned red. Feng Chonghua looked at him in a daze and muttered, I did not expect you to have so many life experiences at such a young age. You are not simple. I have already seen you in a new light, so things will change. I will not stop you and Shershur from doing things together. Let nature take its course. These words were not perfunctory words to Tang Zheng, but the truth. In the past, he opposed Tang Zheng because he felt that Tang Zheng could not bring happiness to his daughter. But now, this was no longer a problem, so why not consider his daughter's feelings? It has to be said that the success of Feng Chonggua's business was not by chance, and it was inseparable from his ability to make decisions. Since he recognized Tang Zheng's ability, then he would choose to make the corresponding decision. Tang Zheng looked at him in astonishment. Only now did he properly examine the other party. Although he and Shi Mengqin were husband and wife, they were not the same type of people. Shi Mengqin really despised the poor and loved the rich, but Feng Chonghua clearly had more inner qualities. Thank you, I will treat Shershur well. Tang Zheng solemnly promised. This was a man's promise, and it would never change. Feng Chonghua smiled, and with a flick of his finger, the extinguished cigarette flew into the trash can. Today I have said so much to you, so I am a lot more relaxed. But I still have to tell you one thing in advance, so that in the future you won't think that I am two-faced and deliberately playing tricks. What is it? After Shershur graduates, she will go abroad to study. This is something that I have already arranged, and it is not because of you. I hope you can understand. Feng Chonghua was speaking the truth. Go abroad? Tang Zheng was startled. Going abroad was something that was unattainable for him in the past, so he had never thought about it. But Pengcheng International School had many such precedents. After all, they were all children from rich families, and most of them liked to go abroad to study. Even if their results were not good, they liked to go abroad to plaster a layer of gold and come back as a turtle. You have to know that the education resources abroad are more abundant. I want Shershur to receive the best education, so this is the only way. Feng Chonghua explained, if you really like her, then you should let her go and let her obtain more and become better, and not just keep her by your side. I think this is true love. Tang Zheng was speechless. Feng Chonggua's words were indeed reasonable, but he had never thought that after graduation, they would go their separate ways, and even be separated by thousands of miles. Actually, Shirshir also wanted to go abroad before, and this was also her idea. But with my understanding of her, she definitely doesn't want to go abroad now, and wants to be with you. Feng Chonghua clearly understood his daughter very well. I know it is very difficult for you to accept this, so I don't need you to make a decision now. You can think about what is the best situation for Shirshir, and give me an answer after you graduate. Tang Zhang nodded with mixed feelings. Feng Shirshir had never told him that she wanted to go abroad, and it seemed that he had neglected her thoughts before. Now let's talk about another matter. Feng Chonghua said. Chapter 119. The reason why I gave you this house is because I need your help. Feng Chonghua decided not to beat around the bush as it would be easier for them to communicate. Sure enough, Tang Zhang curiously asked. What's the matter? My company has a problem and I need Fire Phoenix's help to get through this hurdle, so I want you to help me. You want me to go and plead with Fire Phoenix? I'm afraid I don't have that much face. I've only met her once. Tang Zhang disagreed. Feng Chonghua shook his head. You're still underestimating your own strength. Although I don't know why you're valued by these big shots, I believe you can do it. If I can't get through this hurdle, then I will go bankrupt and lose everything. Tang Zhang suspiciously looked at the other party, not knowing if these words were true or false. Feng Chonghua met his gaze and did not avoid it, appearing very open and aboveboard. If I go bankrupt, then there will definitely be people chasing after me. At that time, even Shirshir won't have the money to go abroad to study. Tang Zhang said that it would be better if she didn't go abroad, but he wasn't that selfish. The other party's meaning was very clear. If he went bankrupt, then Shirshir's life would not be guaranteed. Feng Shirshir had lived a life of luxury since young. If her family fell, then it would make her very sad and she wouldn't be able to adapt to the life of hiding from debt. Scent. As Feng Shirshir's boyfriend, Tang Zhang naturally didn't want to see this happen. Tang Zhang subconsciously wanted to avoid Fire Phoenix, but this time there was no other way. He muttered, Okay, I'll help you. I don't need your house. I'm doing this for Shirshir. Feng Chonghua smiled. I really didn't misjudge you. You're really doing this for Shirshir's sake. But I still want to give you the house. This is what you deserve. If you accept it, then I'll feel at ease. Moreover, you also heard Shirshir's words. If you don't accept it, then she won't be happy. Tang Zhang turned around to look at Feng Shirshir. He found that she was smiling at him and winking at him, encouraging him. His heart skipped a beat, and he said, Okay, I'll accept it. He was a straightforward person. Moreover, in the eyes of others, a house worth several 100,000 gold coins was very expensive, but in his eyes, it wasn't that expensive. After all, he was someone who was willing to give away a priceless treasure like the life-continuing pill for free. Feng Chonghua heaved a sigh of relief. Only when Tang Zhang accepted the house would he truly believe that Tang Zhang would help him. Only then would the conflict between them truly be resolved. Don't take her mother's words to heart. Sometimes, she just doesn't think before she speaks. Tang Zhang shrugged. Since they had turned hostility into friendship, he still had the magnanimity to forgive others. When the two of them walked in, everyone looked over, not knowing how the discussion went. Shi Mengqin really wanted to know the result, but in the end, she did not dare to speak nonsense. We're not buying a house anymore. I'm sorry, Tang Zhang said apologetically to the saleslady. The saleslady gave a professional smile and said that it was fine. You promised my father? Feng Shirshir intimately hugged his arm and asked. Tang Zhang nodded his head. Why, you really are too good. Feng Shirshir excitedly hugged his arm even tighter, rubbing her chest, causing Tang Zhang's spirit to sway. If not for the fact that there were so many people, perhaps Feng Shirshir would have directly kissed him. However, the deep affection in her eyes could be seen by anyone. His character is strong, so he must have agreed to accept this house for my sake. He really is good to me. Feng Shirshir sweetly thought. Let's go, we'll go home to get the keys and property certificate. Afterwards, we'll go to the Housing Management Bureau to complete the procedures. Feng Chonghua said. Several people walked out, leaving behind pairs of envious eyes. In their hearts, they wondered why they did not have such good luck to find a rich family's daughter. Lu Qingmei's eyebrows tightly knit as she watched the luxurious car drive away. She muttered to herself, Tang Zheng is actually this kind of person who climbs up the social ladder. I really misjudged him. Clearly, she believed that Tang Zheng had taken a fancy to this house. As for why Feng Chongguo was so good to Tang Zheng, she was unable to guess the reason. After taking the procedures and going to the Housing Management Bureau to complete the transfer procedures, this 90-square-meter 2-room apartment in Shangfeng Shangshui would be Tang Zheng's. Xi Mingqin's gaze towards Tang Zheng also changed because she already knew from her husband that Tang Zheng was related to the survival of the Feng family. If Tang Zheng did not help, then her life as a rich lady would come to an end. Xi Mingqin was a realistic person, and the most important thing for a realistic person was to clearly distinguish between the pros and cons. Since Tang Zheng was so important, then she had to do everything possible to win him over. Even if she still had a knot in her heart, she would do her best to not show it on her face. Thus, Tang Zheng's situation was much better. He could openly sit with Feng Shishir in the back. Feng Shishir was leaning against him and no one else had any complaints. Tang Zheng, tomorrow I'll help you move. Feng Shishir excitedly said. Tomorrow I'll first accompany your father to do some things before moving. No problem. I'll first go to your house to pack your things. Okay. Tang Zheng did not refuse. Tang Zheng, do you need a car to move? Tomorrow I'll call the driver to help you. No need, I don't have many things so I can do it myself. Tang Zheng did not wish for outsiders to discover the 9 revolving pill furnace and ginseng, these 2 treasures, so he rejected the others' good intentions. Feng Chongguo also did not force him. As night fell, Tang Zheng sat on his bed and looked up at the small room. He had lived here for 18 years and really had deep feelings for it. He had memories of everything here. In the future, these memories would have to be sealed away. He was really reluctant to part with them. Tang Dehai was even more reluctant than him. This was the home he had lived in for most of his life. Every brick and tile had his traces. Suddenly leaving here, in addition to reluctance, there was also a sense of unreality. When he heard Tang Zheng talk about this matter, he felt that it was inconceivable. He thought that he would live here for the rest of his life and even die of old age here. But now that his grandson was being filial to him and was letting him live in a bright and clean high-rise building, he felt gratified but also a little sad. In short, his emotions were very complicated, but he could not drag his grandson down. If his grandson wanted to live in a high-rise building, then he would live there. For his grandson, he was willing to do anything and was willing to give up anything. Of course, he also asked how the new house came about. Tang Zheng did not hide anything and said that Feng Shishir's father had a favor to ask of him, so he gave it to him. Tang Dehai only reminded him that a man should be independent and did not blame him for accepting the house because he understood that he was a director. Tang Zheng was a director, and since Tang Zheng did this, there must be a reason. Tang Zheng had really grown up and had the ability. Many things, he would only provide a little reference and advice, and would not criticize. This simple and honest old man had always thought that he did not read much and did not have much ability, so he could only peacefully watch Tang Zheng grow up. There was no need for him to interfere too much with Tang Zheng's growth because there were many things that he could not do. Tang Zheng was lucky to have such a grandfather. He also understood the deep meaning in his grandfather's eyes, so he was very touched. Through the door, he heard the sound of his grandfather tossing and turning in bed. His heart was also a little confused. Finally, he collected his thoughts and took out a spirit-gathering pill. Even in the darkness, the spirit-gathering pill emitted a faint golden luster. The spirit-gathering pill melted in his mouth, turning into a warm current that flowed down his throat and into his 8 extraordinary meridians. A powerful spiritual energy exploded from within his body, and his 5 viscera, 6 bowels, 4 limbs, and hundreds of bones all had a particularly shocking feeling. Circulate the ancient clear heaven scroll. This spirit-gathering pill not only contains abundant spiritual energy, it can also gather more spiritual energy from heaven and earth, increasing your cultivation speed. Tian Chanzi's voice sounded. Tang Zheng closed his eyes, and with a thought, the ancient clear heaven scroll quietly circulated. The spiritual energy scattered all over his body quickly divided into 2, one to his dantian and the other to his sea of consciousness. At the same time, the spiritual energy between heaven and earth quickly gathered towards him. Although the spiritual energy between heaven and earth was thin, With the effect of the spirit gathering pill, the spiritual energy within a kilometer radius was like a gathering of soldiers. It quickly flew towards the house, penetrated the walls, passed through Tang Zheng's body, and gathered in his dantian and sea of consciousness. In the darkness, no one noticed this change, because ordinary people simply could not perceive the existence of spiritual energy. However, animals and plants were more sensitive than humans. Many small animals quickly moved closer to the house. In the darkness, they stared with bright eyes, raised their heads, opened their mouths, and constantly absorbed the spiritual energy. Under normal circumstances, these animals absorbed spiritual energy very slowly. But now the spiritual energy around Tang Zheng's house had reached a nearly saturated state. After all the spiritual energy within a kilometer radius was gathered here, and even the air felt a little sticky. The wildflowers and weeds in the corners of the house grew much faster, and a subtle change occurred. Tang Zheng was unaware of the changes in the outside world. He was immersed in his own world. The spiritual energy in his dantian quickly gathered and formed a mass of air. This was his true qi. The true qi rapidly rotated, like a whirlpool, attracting more and more spiritual energy. In his sea of consciousness, the light purple first-grade true fire was shining brightly. After absorbing the spiritual energy, the flame clearly became a bit taller, burning more vigorously, and its color became brighter. The entire sea of consciousness became a light purple color, and looked particularly mysterious. Time passed little by little, from night to day. When dawn arrived, he stopped cultivating. The flame in his sea of consciousness was still burning vigorously, and the flame had returned to its original height, but its color was a little brighter. The true qi whirlpool in his dantian also quickly dissipated, and walked through the 9 main meridians. It had reached 4 inches and 6 parts. In one night, he had increased his true qi by 6 parts. Tian Chanzi was speechless. If other people took the spirit gathering pill, they would only increase their true qi by 2 or 3 parts, but he had increased it by 6 parts. It was simply incomparable. However, Tian Chanzi had already adapted to Tang Zheng's abnormal speed, and was not surprised. Tang Zheng was very happy. The spirit gathering pill was indeed a miraculous elixir, and its effect was too obvious. If he took one every day, wouldn't his cultivation soar? The spirit gathering pill's effect is of course good, but it can't be taken every day. Use it once every 10 days. Otherwise, your body won't be able to withstand such a rapid increase in true qi. You need to let your body adapt. Tian Chanzi immediately poured cold water on him. Tang Zheng was not depressed. If he took one every 10 days, his cultivation speed would be very fast, and even a bit abnormal. He was secretly happy for a moment, and continued to observe the changes in his body. The true qi in his 9 main meridians had increased, and the pure yang power had also increased. His body temperature had unknowingly risen. Chapter 120. Tang Zheng and Feng Chonghua once again arrived at Fire Phoenix's company but were blocked outside by the secretary, who tactfully said that Fire Phoenix was busy and would not be receiving guests. She had already recognized Feng Chonghua and refused to be a guest. Feng Chonghua secretly sighed, as it was fortunate that he brought Tang Zheng, otherwise he would not even be able to see Fire Phoenix's face. Thus he let the secretary pass on the message to Fire Phoenix that Tang Zheng had come to pay a visit. The secretary suspiciously looked at the two and went back in. Not long after, she came out and looked at Tang Zheng with astonishment, as she did not expect him to have such a big face. "Young Master Tang, Manager Feng, Fire Phoenix invites you in." The secretary's attitude was clearly much more respectful. Feng Chonghua bitterly smiled as he looked at Tang Zheng, as his face was still bigger. Pushing open the door and entering, Fire Phoenix had already welcomed them and warmly welcomed them. "Young Master Tang, Manager Feng, welcome. Hi. There are many things to do in the company, so I've made the two of you wait." Feng Chonghua did not speak, as it was clear that Tang Zheng was more welcomed, so he let him speak. Tang Zheng calmly said, "Fire Phoenix is too polite. We suddenly came to visit and have disturbed you. Young Master Tang, I don't like what you're saying. For you to be able to pull in my small plot of land is my honor. You must think highly of me, Fire Phoenix." Fire Phoenix straightforwardly said, as she clearly had a bit more of a Jianghu aura, which was very different from her previous white-collar temperament. Feng Chonghua tacitly understood as Fire Phoenix was using the Jianghu style to interact with Tang Zheng. It was clearly much more cordial compared to the business world. Could it be that Tang Zheng has also become a Jianghu person? Feng Chonghua secretly wondered. The few of them sat down on the sofa as the secretary served tea. She could not help but look at Tang Zheng a few more times, as Fire Phoenix rarely treated people like this. Your side is quite unique. Tang Zheng praised, as although Fire Phoenix was a Jianghu person, she was clearly a level higher than Lin Hu. Her business was neither black nor white and had a bit of gray temperament, but it was much better than Lin Hu's business. Take this construction company for example. At least from the outside, it looked like a proper company. As for how many underlings the company had, that was not something outsiders knew. Young Master Tang, you flatter me. This is just a small matter. Now that brother who has taken over Boss Fan's territory, I can't compare to him. Fire Phoenix waved her hand and said modestly. You're not the same as him. Your focus is also different. I heard that your company is the leader in this field. How many people are looking forward to cooperating with Chief Hua? Tang Zheng lightly said. Fire Phoenix looked at Feng Chonghua with a smile that was not a smile and said, Young Master Tang, you flatter me. This is all because everyone is giving face. Everyone is picking up materials with high flames. Boss Hua, to tell you the truth, I came here today because I have something to ask of you. After the greetings, Tang Zheng went straight to the point. Oh, what's the matter, young Master Tang? Fire Phoenix asked knowingly. Tang Zheng pointed at Feng Chonghua and said, This is Uncle Feng. Chief Hua has already met him. Uncle Feng's real estate company needs Chief Hua's assistance in the demolition. What does Chief Hua think? Tang Zheng was not sure if the other party would agree to his request. After all, the two had only met once. If Fire Phoenix was really curious about him, then it was true. But whether or not she would give him face, he was not sure in his heart. Feng Chonghua continued to say, Chief Hua, since we are cooperating with your company, we will definitely not treat your company unfairly. Moreover, Chief Hua has helped me this time. This Feng will definitely remember it in my heart. On Fire Phoenix's face hung an unfathomable smile, making it impossible for others to see through her thoughts. She looked at Tang Zheng with a burning gaze and said, Young Master Tang, since you have such a good relationship with Director Feng, I will definitely help you. But if I have any trouble in the future, can young Master Tang lend me a hand? Feng Chonghua immediately looked at Tang Zheng. He really did not understand what Fire Phoenix's power would require Tang Zheng's help in. But Fire Phoenix was clearly not joking. Moreover, she deliberately let him lead Tang Zheng here, as if to obtain this promise. Tang Zheng thoughtfully looked at the other party. He really could not understand Fire Phoenix's thoughts. According to Lin Hu's words, Fire Phoenix was able to support such a large business all these years. She was definitely not an ordinary person. Whether it was her temperament or her methods, she could be considered outstanding. What does she need my help with? Tang Zheng's eyebrows lightly jumped and said, Chief Hua, your fame is widespread. Why would you need my help? Fire Phoenix chuckled, picked up the teacup and took a sip. She said neither too fast nor too slow. People will have their highs and lows. I am just an ordinary woman, so I am not an exception. Don't look at my current glory. Who knows when I will be in dire straits? So when that time comes, I hope young Master Tang will remember today's kindness and help me, Fire Phoenix, along. Since she had already said this much, if Tang Zheng still did not agree, then there would be no need to continue the discussion. Tang Zheng knew the situation, so he nodded without hesitation. Since Chief Hua thinks so highly of me, then I will naturally remember today's kindness. Hee. Then I will first thank young Master Tang. Fire Phoenix was completely satisfied as she said with a smile. Feng Chonghua let out a sigh of relief, but he was also somewhat depressed. All his efforts were in vain, but Tang Zheng only gave Fire Phoenix a promise. There was nothing substantial, but the problem was easily solved. He really understood the essence of the phrase, comparing yourself to others will only make you angry. Young Master Tang, after that night, Brother Hu and I talked about many things. I wonder if young Master Tang is interested in having a private chat with me? Fire Phoenix probed. She had always been observing Tang Zheng and had always been probing him. For such an unfathomable person to appear in the ordinary balance, she had no choice but to be careful. This was her usual practice for the past 10 years. If she did not rely on this cautiousness, then she would have already left this world. Fang Chonghua awkwardly looked at Tang Zheng, not knowing whether or not he should withdraw. It was better for him to know less about matters of the underworld. Unexpectedly, Tang Zheng shook his head and said, "Since brother who wants to discuss with you, then it is better for the two of you to know. I will not participate. Moreover, I am about to take the college entrance exam, so I do not have much time to deal with other matters." Fire Phoenix looked at this serious face and felt a sense of absurdity. Such a mysterious youth was actually still in high school. Moreover, he was preparing for the college entrance exam. She, as a delinquent girl, found it hard to understand. Young Master Tang really loves to study. AI, there is no other way. You also know that I am last place. If I do not put in some effort, then I am afraid that I will not even be able to pass the college entrance exam. That would not be good. Tang Zheng sighed. With young Master Tang's strength, even if you do not study, you will still be able to make those famous university students work under young Master Tang. I do not have that strength. Moreover, knowledge is the primary productive force. A person should read more books. Tang Zheng was now a cultivator. According to reason, he should just concentrate on his cultivation. However, he did not do so. Not only was he working hard to prepare for the college entrance exam, but he was also preparing to do well. This was not only for his grandfather, but also for himself. In a person's life, the most important thing was experience. If one did not experience it, then it would always be a regret. But since he had this opportunity, how could he give it up? Fire Phoenix did not understand his mentality but did not continue to persuade him. She only smiled and sighed. Young Master Tang is indeed more insightful than a crude person like me. In the future, I hope to be able to interact more with young Master Tang and let me be a little bit cultured. Tang Zheng smiled and said, if I can interact more with young Master Fire, I will definitely benefit a lot. Then it's settled. Young Master Tang, do you mind leaving your contact information? Fire Phoenix said. Tang Zheng gave her a number and Fire Phoenix dialed it on the spot. Tang Zheng's phone rang. His old phone had completed its historical mission. Now he had a new smartphone that cost $1,000. It was much better than his old one. Tang Zheng wrote down Fire Phoenix's number and got up to leave. Young Master Fire, I still have some matters to attend to, so I will be leaving first. Let's chat again next time. Fire Phoenix shook her phone and mysteriously smiled. Okay, let's chat again next time. Uncle Fong, I will be going back first. You and young Master Fire can discuss the matter of cooperation. Tang Zheng said. Fang Chonghua said with satisfaction. If there is anything you need, give me a call. Fire Phoenix sent Tang Zheng to the door and affectionately shook hands with him. Only then did Tang Zheng leave and go straight home. Fang Shishir had already gone to his house to pack up his things. He had to hurry back. When he got home, he found that many things had already been packed. Tang Dehai and Fang Shishir's busy figures shuttled back and forth in the room. Grandfather, do you still want this thing? Yes. Okay, then I will pack it up. Fang Shishir was like a little bee, tirelessly packing up his things. Her forehead was already covered in sweat, but she was completely unaware. It was as if she had endless motivation. Tang Zheng felt some heartache. She had never done this kind of work at home but was willing to do it for him. He quickly walked in and took the thing from her hand. It was a little heavy. He didn't know where she got her strength from with her small body. You are back. She revealed a brilliant smile. Her snow-white teeth paired with two small dimples made her look especially amiable. It was like a wife at home seeing her husband come home. Her eyebrows were filled with deep affection. Tang Zheng wiped the sweat off her forehead and said, Why do you have to work so hard? Just wait for me to come back. Fang Shishir rubbed against his palm. Her face was so happy that it was about to bloom like a flower. Anyway, I have nothing to do. I will do it first. When you come back you can do less. What a silly girl. Tang Zheng's head was warm. If grandfather was not beside him, he would have pulled her into his arms. You rest first. I will do it. Tang Zheng said. Let's do it together. Tang Dehai looked at the two from the side. His face also bloomed with a gratified smile. Originally, he was worried about Fang Shishir's family background. After all, the children of rich families were mostly spoiled. However, Fang Shishir did not have many bad habits in this area. This made Tang Dehai feel relieved. At least he felt that the two of them would live together harmoniously in the future. The three of them were busy for a while. Everything was packed. In fact, there was not much. After all, the new house had all the daily appliances and furniture. They only needed to bring some daily clothes and other small items. Chapter 121. After packing up and moving the things into a rented van, the small house was surrounded by many neighbors. Free novel portal after all, the grandfather and grandson had lived here for decades, and many people knew each other, and these were all poor people. At first glance, when they saw the grandfather and grandson move, they all showed surprise and envy. Many people came forward to say hello, saying that Tang Dehai was lucky to finally be able to walk out of the slums. They also said that they had seen Tang Zheng as a promising child since he was young, and it was true. Everyone was generous with their praise, expressing their blessings to the grandfather and grandson. Tang Dehai also responded enthusiastically, and there was no sense of pride or vanity at all. As an old man who had been honed by life for decades, those useless vanity feelings had long been thrown to the back of his mind, and what was left was only simplicity. In the sound of a group of people shouting to come back more often, the van started and drove towards the new house. Wind and water. Tang Zheng let his grandfather be the first to enter the house. When the old man stepped into the new house, he was still a little uncomfortable, as if he was afraid that his shoes would dirty the floor. Then, he was shocked by the new house. The decoration of the house was very luxurious, and the furniture and appliances were all high-end goods. Tang Dehai had never seen many of them before. He was like Granny Lu who had just entered the Grandview Garden, but there was no vanity, only amazement. "Grandfather, you rest first and visit the new house. I'll go move the luggage." Tang Zheng sat the old man down on the sofa and then ran downstairs. Feng Shishir also followed. It was already May, and the weather was gradually getting hot. Feng Shishir's face was sweating again, but her face was always full of smiles. Tang Zheng had been in the same class with her for 3 years, but he had never seen so many smiles. "You're tired too. Rest at home. I'll take care of these things in a while." Tang Zheng took care of everything. "Humph. You want to leave me alone? No way, labor is the most glorious. I also want to be glorious." Feng Shishir rushed to carry a bag of luggage in her arms. Like a small soldier in a rapid march, she quickly went upstairs. Tang Zheng shook his head and smiled. He did not stop her, but the warmth in his heart grew stronger and stronger. Tang Zheng was very strong, and there was an elevator. It didn't take long for the luggage to be moved into the new house. In fact, many of the things that Tang Dehai brought were useless and took up space. Tang Zheng did not interfere, because these things all contained his grandfather's memories, so it did not matter if they took up a little space. In a home, the most important thing was to live comfortably. With these old things, Tang Dehai would be comfortable. Tang Dehai had mixed feelings. He was gradually adapting to this new environment. From the balcony overlooking the courtyard, there were many old people moving around. The environment was indeed very comfortable. "Little Zheng, you guys rest well at home. I'll go down and familiarize myself with the environment. I'll also go to the market and buy some groceries. Little girl, don't go, stay here and eat." Tang Dehai said. "Grandfather, we'll go with you," Feng Shishir said obediently. Tang Dehai waved his hand. "No need, you guys have been tired for half a day. Rest first, I'll be back in 2 hours." Grandfather left, leaving only 2 people in the large room. Feng Shishir looked at Tang Zheng with shining eyes and asked, "Are you happy moving to a new house?" "Of course I'm happy, but I see that you're even happier than me. You always have a smile on your face. Labor is glorious, of course I'm happy." "Is it only because of labor, and no other reason?" Tang Zheng asked mischievously. Feng Shishir's charming face blushed. "What other reason could there be? Could it be that there's no reason for me?" "Shameless." Feng Shishir stuck out her tongue. "I'm shameless, but you're really beautiful." "How am I beautiful? I'm covered in sweat." Receiving the praise of her beloved, Feng Shishir said insincerely. "Covered in sweat? Let me smell it." Tang Zheng hugged her, put his nose on her body, took a few deep breaths and said, "How is it smelly sweat? It's clearly dripping with fragrant sweat. Feng Shishir giggled. How is sweat fragrant? You don't mean what you say. That's not what I said. The ancient said, a faint fragrance of flowers, a faint fragrance of women. Your body is really fragrant. If you don't believe me, you can smell it. Tang Zheng said seriously. Then I'll smell it. Feng Shishir raised her arm and smelled it. Indeed, there wasn't much of a smell, but the fragrance of a young girl was a bit stronger because of the evaporation of sweat. Isn't it fragrant? Let me smell it again. Tang Zheng's face moved down from her neck to her towering chest, and then he didn't want to leave. You dare to be naughty. Feng Shishir immediately saw through his intentions, grabbed his ear and said coquettishly. How am I naughty? I'm such a pure person. Tang Zheng didn't even raise his head as he said with an evil smile. Humph, I was deceived by your innocence before. You really are a big bad person. Feng Shishir's tone became hurried. Hurry and get up, otherwise I'll twist your ear. Twist it, even if you twist my ear, I won't be willing to get up. Tang Zheng said mischievously. Feng Shishir helplessly put down her hand, admitting defeat. I really don't know what to do with you. Hey, last time we didn't finish, but you promised me to continue. Feng Shishir immediately remembered the intimacy they had last time in that small room. Her heart thumped wildly, and her cheeks became even redder. Bad person, so you still remember this matter? Of course I remember. How could I forget such an important matter? Tang Zheng said as a matter of fact. Feng Shishir's breathing couldn't help but quicken, and her body began to heat up. She shyly said, I'm sweating, I can't. It's okay, you'll be sweating later anyway. You are really bad. Feng Shishir was helpless. Listen, whose heart is beating faster? Your heart betrayed your true thoughts. Tang Zheng put his ear on her chest. Feng Shishir hurriedly tried to break free, but when she straightened her body, it was as if she took the initiative to press her chest on his face. How could Tang Zheng let go of this great opportunity? And his face fiercely pressed on top, changing the shape of his face. Ah! Feng Shishir let out a suppressed scream, but she didn't know that this scream was full of temptation. Tang Zheng's hand tightened, and the two people's bodies were tightly pressed together. We moved to a new house, so of course we have to celebrate. Tang Zheng raised his head, and their eyes met, and their two faces were almost touching. Two pairs of eyes were filled with deep affection, and Feng Shishir almost melted in his eyes. Not only did her body soften, but her heart also softened. The two people's mouths slowly kissed together, and the familiar taste and feeling exploded from the bottom of their hearts. Let's go to bed. Tang Zheng picked her up by the waist and walked towards the bedroom. Feng Shishir leaned her head on his shoulder, bit her lips and said, Grandpa will be back. Didn't Grandpa say that he would be back in 2 hours? It's still early. Tang Zheng was definitely not willing to give up halfway this time. Humph, you've been planning this for a long time. Feng Shishir said coquettishly. Hey, how could that be? I'm very pure. Tang Zheng laughed evilly. Pure your head. Feng Shishir knocked his forehead. Tang Zheng gently put her on the bed, and her curvaceous body immediately appeared, causing his eyes to stare at her. Brat, take her down in one go. Tian Chanzi said. Go away. Tang Zheng quickly sealed him, not giving him a chance to do a free show. The two people were entangled together, and Tang Zheng's hands were not obedient, and began to attack. Feng Shishir's clothes were taken off one by one, and soon, only her bra was left on her upper body. Looking at the hemispherical shape that was wrapped up, his eyes were about to spit fire, and his body temperature rose even higher, and the true qi in his veins began to become restless. It was such a beautiful scene, and it would be a pity to block it, so he quickly took off her bra, but after a long time, he still couldn't get it. Poochie! Feng Shishir looked at his embarrassed state, and couldn't help but laugh. Tang Zheng's face was red with embarrassment, and he said resentfully, It's the first time, I'm not familiar with it, and I really don't know how to take it off. Feng Shishir glanced at him flirtatiously, and she reached behind her and gently took off her bra, revealing the beautiful scene in front of Tang Zheng's eyes. Gulp! Tang Zheng forcefully swallowed his saliva. Stupid! Feng Shishir was shy and sweet, but she saw the deep love in the eyes of the person she loved, so she gathered her courage and straightened her chest. Tang Zheng was like a hungry wolf, and he pounced on her. A moment later, the two of them were completely naked, and their bodies were covered in sweat. Tang Zhang used all his strength, but he found that his knowledge in this area was too lacking, and he couldn't get it right. He was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. Feng Shishir was about to melt, and she hugged his waist and shyly encouraged him. Try again, this time it will definitely work. It was the first time for both of them, and they were inexperienced. Tang Zheng naturally wouldn't give up, or else he would despise himself in the future. He finally used all his strength, and after studying for a long time, he finally succeeded. Ah! Feng Shishir's shy cry of pain made Tang Zheng's movement stop. Is it very painful? He asked with heartache. Feng Shishir frowned, nodded, and then took a deep breath and said, Slow down. Tang Zheng was afraid of hurting her, so he went from slow to fast, and the two of them finally went through the mountain of Wu, and wandered in that wonderful feeling. The true qi in Tang Zheng's body was like boiling water, and his body temperature suddenly rose, like a red-hot iron, but Feng Shishir didn't feel anything. Her eyes were half closed, and she bit her lips. Her face was crimson red, and she was full of shyness and satisfaction. Tang Zheng was like a wild horse galloping through the prairie, and he freely scattered his energy. The pure yin energy continuously passed from Feng Shishir's body into his. This pure yin energy was like a solid substance, and it was so thick that it couldn't be dissolved. It flowed through his meridians, and in an instant, it came into contact with the boiling true qi. The boiling true qi was like a violent child meeting a loved one, and under the affectionate comfort, it began to become docile and grow. The true qi in the 9 main meridians rose, from 4 inches and 6 parts to 7 parts, 8 parts, as if there was no end. Chapter 122. His Zhen Qi crazily rose, causing others to be flabbergasted. Translation: Tang Zheng did not realize this at all because he and Feng Shishir were completely immersed in this wonderful feeling. Making love on a mountain, the two people's hearts and bodies merged together, harmonizing with each other. Being rolled by waves, their figures alternated, the sound of breathing and panting did not stop, as if it was a concerto, causing people's hearts to palpitate with excitement, full of temptation. Suddenly, 2 slightly high-pitched cries were heard, and 2 bodies tightly hugged each other. The wind stopped and the rain stopped. A blazing stream of qi entered Feng Shishir's body, quickly flowing through her meridians. Her 8 extraordinary meridians, 4 limbs, and hundreds of bones were all undergoing earth-shattering changes. Her skin was flushed, and the corner of her mouth hung a satisfied smile. Her eyes were like autumn water, filled with deep affection and sweetness. Tang Zheng's entire body quivered as he instantly felt the changes in his body. That viscous pure yin energy and pure yang energy completely neutralized, causing his true qi to rise with a whooshing sound. It actually crossed 5 inches and did not stop there. He suddenly remembered what Tian Chanzi said. It seems that it was true, absorbing so much pure yin energy in one go. His cultivation actually made a qualitative leap. At this moment, he was already a 5th-grade qi refining cultivator, and he did not know what realm he could reach in the end. He did not waste this great opportunity, and hurriedly operated the ancient clear heaven scroll. Immediately, his Zhen Qi soared even faster, unexpectedly surpassing 6 inches in one go. 6 inches meant that he was a 6th-grade qi refining cultivator. According to what Tian Chanzi said, even the disciples of the large sects in the cultivation world did not have such a fast cultivation speed. The 9-yang saint body was indeed extraordinary. Although there was a risk of exploding, the saying that risk and opportunity coexisted was not wrong. His Zhen Qi did not rise any further, steadily stopping at 6 inches, but this was enough to make Tang Zheng go wild with joy. Seeing Tang Zheng motionless with a strange expression, Feng Shishir hurriedly asked with concern, "What happened to you?" Tang Zheng could not hide his joy, and could not help but kiss her forehead. "Shishir, thank you." Feng Shishir smiled charmingly and rebuked, "Why are you thanking me for this?" Tang Zheng lay on the bed and held her in his arms. He gently stroked her black hair with one hand and slid his other hand down her snow-white back. Feng Shishir lay on his chest obediently. The redness on her body had not completely disappeared. Her fair skin was tinged with red, making her look exceptionally alluring. "I've already given myself to you, so you must treat me well in the future, do you understand?" Feng Shishir rubbed his chest and said softly. Ever since Tang Zhang started practicing martial arts, his body had become more robust. His muscles were clearly defined, but they did not have the terrifying explosive feeling of a bodybuilder. Instead, he had a well-proportioned body with great strength. Feng Shishir lay on his chest, like a drifting boat anchored in a sheltered harbor. No storm could disturb her. "I'll definitely treat you well," Tang Jing solemnly promised. "I believe in you." Looking at her exquisite body, Tang Zhang felt that at this moment, he was the happiest man in the world. He was filled with pride and a sense of accomplishment. His gaze slowly moved down from the top to the bottom, admiring the most beautiful scenery. Suddenly, a touch of red jumped into his line of sight, attracting his gaze. Feng Shishir felt his burning gaze and subconsciously looked over. She softly exclaimed and shyly said, "You're not allowed to look." She quickly grabbed the bedsheet. There were a few drops of blood on it. It was dark red like a blooming flower. "Do you have a pair of scissors?" Feng Shishir asked. Tang Zhang was puzzled. "What do you need a pair of scissors for?" "Don't worry about it. Quickly go and find it for me." Tang Zhang was naked. He resentfully got off the bed and went out to find a pair of scissors. Feng Shishir saw him swagger over and was also naked. She could not help but feel ashamed. "Are you an exhibitionist? You don't even wear clothes when you go out." Tang Zhang laughed mischievously. "Anyway, there's only the two of us at home. What's there to be afraid of?" Feng Shishir took the scissors and with a few kacha, she cut off the blood-stained bedsheet. A large hole appeared on the bedsheet. Tang Zhang was shocked. "Why are you cutting the bedsheet?" "It's none of your business." Feng Shishir carefully folded the small piece of bedsheet and put it in her pocket. Tang Zhang bitterly sighed. "Ai, my bedsheet. Why is your life so bitter? Your mistress didn't like you and directly dismembered you." Feng Shishir hurriedly waved the scissors and threatened. "Don't say it. Be careful or I'll cut you." Tang Zhang hurriedly covered his lower part and said, "That won't do. Besides, how can you bear to do it?" "Humph, I'm very generous. I won't bear to do it." Feng Shishir clenched her teeth and made a fierce expression. Tang Zhang looked at the hole and suddenly remembered something. He was shocked. "We didn't take any protective measures. Will I be pregnant?" "Right, what if I'm pregnant?" Feng Shishir paused for a moment and suddenly asked in a panic. Tang Zhang had never thought of having a big fat boy at his age. He could not help but feel a chill in his heart. He was too impulsive just now. Many times, men are easily blinded by desire. But looking at Feng Shishir's panicked appearance, his heart trembled, and said, "Let's go buy medicine later. I know this medicine is not good for the body, but this is the first time. I won't be so reckless in the future. I will take precautions." "Haha, look at your scared face." Feng Shishir laughed and pointed at him, saying, "I thought you really weren't afraid of anything. You look so cute right now." Tang Zheng knew that he was embarrassed, but he did not care. He said seriously, "Don't laugh. I'm serious. We can't have children at this age, so we have to take precautions." Feng Shishir was still smiling. Looking at his serious appearance, tears were about to come out of her eyes. "Don't worry, I'm just teasing you. Today is my safe period. It's fine." Feng Shishir finally revealed the truth. "Safe period? What's that?" Tang Zheng was baffled. He was really lacking in knowledge. "Anyway, it's fine. Don't worry. You looked so cute when you were so serious." Feng Shishir still could not hide her smile. Tang Zheng scratched his head. It seemed that he had to cram in knowledge in this area in the future. Feng Shishir was more mature than other girls. She appreciated his attitude after the incident. She did not think that it was manly for a man to say that he would give birth to a child if she was pregnant. On the contrary, that was the greatest harm to a girl. Because at this age, it was impossible to think about children. Tang Zheng's was a mature countermeasure. Tang Zheng breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing that she was still laughing, he pounced on her and said fiercely, "You dare to laugh at me? I'll let you know my power." "Ah no." Feng Shishir hurriedly dodged, but how could she escape from Tang Zheng's claws? She was teased until she was panting. "No, I'm going to take a shower. Grandpa will be back soon." "You want to take a shower, right? Then let's take a shower together." After saying that, he did not wait for her to react. He carried her by the waist and rushed into the bathroom. After a while, the sound of water mixed with seductive panting sounded again. Tang Zheng and Feng Shishir were neatly dressed. They sat on the sofa and watched TV. Feng Shishir was lazily nestled in his arms. She was absent-mindedly staring at the TV screen while talking to him. Click! The sound of a key turning the door lock was heard. Feng Shishir was like a frightened deer. She immediately climbed out of his arms and sat upright. "Grandpa, you're back." Tang Zheng greeted him. Tang Dahai had bought a lot of vegetables. "Wow, Grandpa, you bought so many vegetables. Moving to a new house. Of course we have to celebrate." "Okay, I'll go cook. Tonight's dinner is very sumptuous. Let me help." Feng Shishir volunteered. Tang Zheng winked at her, indicating that she should not move. She was really tormented by Tang Zheng. Moreover, it was her first time tasting a man and a woman. Her body was slightly unwell and she should not move too much. Otherwise, it would be easy for Tang Dahai to find out. Feng Shishir rolled her eyes at him, as if to say that it was not his fault. She did not stand up. "Shishir, you're tired from moving. You can watch TV. Leave the kitchen to us." Tang Dahai also said. Obviously, he did not find anything strange. The kitchen rang with the sound of pots and pans ding-dang. Feng Shishir listened to it and felt particularly comfortable. It was better than any music. It made her feel the warmth and tranquility of home. After dinner, it was already late. Feng Shishir did not dare to stay any longer in order to avoid being exposed. She hurriedly asked Tang Zheng to send her home. At this time, Tian Chanzi's seal was lifted. He did not give up and shouted, "Boy, I really regret teaching you the sealing technique. Every time you seal me up, I'm so angry. You can't look at what you shouldn't look at. Don't you understand this principle? You're still a master." Tang Zheng jokingly said. "Who said that I would peek? I'm so powerful. Don't tell me that I don't understand the principle of not looking at indecent things." Tian Chanzi indignantly defended himself. "I don't believe you in this aspect. Hey. You're questioning my character. You're making me angry." Tian Chanzi shouted. Suddenly, he was surprised. "Boy, how did your cultivation become 6th grade refining qi? Didn't you say that purine energy could help me improve my cultivation?" Tang Jing asked. Tian Chanzi was making a fuss over nothing. "I did say that, but it didn't increase this fast. This is completely beyond my expectations. I originally thought that breaking through to the 5th grade refining qi would be amazing. But this is directly breaking through to the 6th grade refining qi. Do you know the principle that the further you cultivate, the harder it is?" Tian Chanzi was still immersed in shock, chattering endlessly. Tang Zheng was already used to his own speed. He disapprovingly said, "Isn't it a good thing that my cultivation speed has increased?" Tian Chanzi was speechless. He could only mutter to himself, "You're really a monster. This speed is too abnormal." Hey, didn't you always say that I wasn't human? Isn't my monstrous speed in line with my identity?" Tang Zheng proudly said. Tian Chanzi simply ignored his complacency. But after a while, Tian Chanzi once again screamed, "This girl, she..." It seemed that something unbelievable had happened that caused him to lose his composure. Chapter 123. Tang Zheng was shocked as he thought that something bad had happened to Feng Shishir and hurriedly asked, "Tian Chanzi, what happened to Shishir? How did her physique change?" Tian Chanzi asked in bewilderment. "Physique? Doesn't she have a purine body?" Tang Zheng was a bit confused. She indeed still has a purine body, but her nature has undergone an earth-shattering change. Her current physique is too suitable for cultivation, as if a top expert had used a supreme divine ability to transform her physique. Tian Chanzi exclaimed. If they were face to face, Tang Zheng felt that he would definitely be able to see Tian Chanzi's mouth as if it was stuffed with a duck egg. Tang Zheng was also shocked as he only had the most intimate relationship with her, so how did her physique change? "I know, it must be something you did. The 9-yang saint body actually has such a divine ability. I have never heard of it before." Tian Chanzi did not know if he was envious or jealous as he exclaimed. Tang Zheng was happy as Feng Shishir being suitable for cultivation was not a bad thing but a great thing. Tang Zheng was a cultivator, and according to what the heaven monk said, his aging would become very slow, and his lifespan would also become longer. However, the aging of ordinary people was too fast, and their lifespan was also short. He was just worried that he could not find a solution, and since Feng Shishir was suitable for cultivation, then he would let her cultivate as well. This way she could protect herself when she was alone, and even if she went abroad to study in the future it would be much safer. It was killing two birds with one stone. Tang Zheng ignored the stunned Tian Chanzi and hurriedly asked, Tian Chanzi, do you have a suitable cultivation method for her to cultivate? What do you mean, brat? Since you said that her physique is suitable for cultivation, then of course we can't waste it. Tang Zheng said as a matter of fact. Tian Chanzi muttered to himself for a while before saying, No. F*ck, Tian Chanzi, don't tell me you can't even bear to part with a set of techniques? Tang Zheng said unhappily. Don't interrupt. I'm not saying that I won't give her a cultivation method, but with such a good physique, it would be a waste to just give her a random cultivation method. Do you know that it is a sin to waste such a good physique? Tang Zheng understood the meaning behind his words and said, Then you don't have to hide it. Quickly give me a set of powerful techniques. Of course there are powerful cultivation methods, but how can they be given to others so casually? What do you mean? Every sect has its own treasured cultivation method. Wouldn't it be a mess if they just randomly gave it away? Then what should we do? I don't care. If you dare to give her a roadside stall like a perfunctory cultivation method, I definitely won't let you off, Tang Zheng threatened fiercely. Am I that kind of person who would measure the heart of a gentleman with the yardstick of a villain? Little brat, at the beginning because of the ancient clear heaven scroll, I was unable to accept you as my disciple. Now that I have accepted her as my disciple, it can be considered as a form of compensation. Our acquaintance was not in vain. Tian Chanzi spoke frankly with assurance. You want to accept Shishir as your disciple? Tang Zheng really did not think that this would be the result. Of course I'm kind enough, Tian Chanzi said flatteringly. I see that you have your own little calculations, right? You discovered that Shishir's physique is excellent, so you had the idea of accepting her as your disciple. Tang Zheng's words exposed the mystery. Tian Chanzi was seen through and resentfully said, I'm just being impatient, you know? This kind of good seedling, of course I can't waste it. Tian Chanzi, will definitely be able to teach a peerless disciple. Tang Zheng's heart moved. Although Tian Chanzi was sometimes unreliable, he was more than enough to be a master. Moreover, he was very knowledgeable about cultivation. Little brat, let me tell you, if this little girl does not accept me as her master, I will not be able to teach her a top-level cultivation technique because this is the sect's rule. I cannot break the rules. Do you understand? Tian Chanzi said solemnly. Don't make up excuses yourself. What sect's rules? Tang Zheng retorted. I'm so angry, little brat. You take my good intentions for ill intent. Okay, then we'll do as you say and let her accept you as her master. But I want to make it clear, if you are not a competent master, then don't blame me for letting her join another sect. Tian Chanzi snorted. It's hard to find such a competent master under the heavens. Only you would waste such a heaven-sent opportunity. Don't talk big. You should think about what kind of cultivation technique to give her. Of course it's the cloud water technique. This is the top-level cultivation technique that my sect's female disciples cultivate. When cultivated to the peak, they will have the ability to pierce through heaven and earth. You're exaggerating. I'm just speaking the truth. How can you make her accept you as her master when you're in my head? Hey, I originally thought that I would have to wait a long time before I could be reborn, but you little brat, your abnormal cultivation speed completely exceeded my expectations. Therefore, the day of my rebirth is not far away. Really? Tang Zheng was overjoyed. Speaking of which, it was a bit awkward to have another soul living in his head. Of course, you've already reached the 6th grade refining qi. My soul has also been nourished to a strong enough level that I can be reborn. However, a vessel is not easy to find. Now that so many people have died, just randomly find one. Tang Zheng deliberately suggested. Bullshit. Do you think that I, Tian Chanzi, can casually find a vessel for my rebirth? You have to choose carefully, otherwise I'll just stay in your head and not leave. If you don't leave, then don't even think about accepting a disciple. Little brat, do you really want to anger me to death before you're satisfied? Tang Zheng laughed. Don't be angry, isn't this for your own good? During this time, we'll properly look for a vessel. That's more like it. Don't worry, although I can't make her accept me as her master right now, I can still pass on the cloud water technique to her. You just need to guide her according to what I said. In the future, when I'm reborn, we'll clearly explain everything to her so that I don't scare her. If you say it like that, then it seems that you're more competent as her master. Then I'll agree on her behalf. Hurry up and give me the cloud water technique. A light flashed in Tang Zheng's head. There was already a new technique chant. Carefully examining it with Tang Zheng's eyes, it was indeed very exquisite. Tang Zheng, why aren't you saying anything? Seeing that they were almost at the door, Feng Shishir curiously asked. Shishir, I have a very serious matter to tell you. Tang Zheng stopped and said seriously. What matter? Why are you so serious? Feng Shishir laughed involuntarily. Don't tell me you're thinking of something bad in your head. Tang Zheng seriously said. It's a serious matter. You know that I know martial arts, right? And I know. I heard that Yi Dingdang is not your opponent. I also heard that Yi Dingdong's martial arts are not bad. Now when she talked about Yi Dingdang, she no longer felt a strong sense of crisis because her relationship with Tang Zheng was already confirmed. It was not something that Yi Dingdang could compare to. Yes, but I'm not the same as her. She's a martial artist and I'm a cultivator. We have two different systems. Martial artist, cultivator. Feng Shishir's eyes widened as if she was listening to a heavenly book. Tang Zheng then explained the systems of martial artists and cultivators. Feng Shishir was even more confused as this was beyond her scope of understanding. You're saying that cultivators can fly and burrow into the ground, as well as have the ability to see through heaven and earth? Yes. Then do you know all these things now? Feng Shishir's eyes began to emit little stars as she looked at her boyfriend with interest. Any girl would hope that her boyfriend would be strong enough. Moreover, Tang Zheng was a cultivator which added a mysterious aura to his body, making him particularly attractive. Tang Zheng embarrassedly said, I know a bit of magic, but it's still far from being able to fly and burrow into the ground. Magic. Feng Shishir covered her mouth as she stared at him and probingly asked, What kind of magic? Can I see it? This. It's just a little. Feng Shishir expectantly said. Tang Zheng agreed so he would show it off a little. It could also increase her motivation and interest in cultivation. However, the spells he knew were sealing techniques, alchemy techniques, and body-fixing techniques. These were not suitable for him to show off, but the true fire was very effective. He looked around and seeing that there was no one around, he handsomely extended a finger. A light purple flame instantly appeared on his fingertip and burned fiercely. Fire! Your finger is actually on fire. Feng Shishir had lived for 18 years and had never seen such a shocking thing. She covered her mouth as her eyes widened. This isn't magic, right? Of course not. Then can I touch it? No, this fire won't hurt me, but it will hurt you. Oh. Feng Shishir nodded as if she understood. Her eyes gradually lit up as she stared at the true fire as if she wanted to study it thoroughly. Shishir, do you want to learn? Can I also learn? Of course you can. Your physique is very good and very suitable for cultivation. Really? Feng Shishir was so happy that she almost jumped up. Then in the future can I also be as strong as you? Of course. Maybe you'll be even stronger than me. I want to learn, I want to learn. Feng Shishir nodded her head like she was pounding garlic. She couldn't wait and fantasized that the two of them would be a celestial couple. But I don't know anything. It's because you don't know that you have to learn. There is someone who wants to take you as a disciple, but it's not convenient for him to show up right now. So I will first teach you on his behalf. When he shows up in the future, you can take him as your master. I have a master? Feng Shishir was very surprised. She was immersed in her studies all year round, so this kind of novel and exciting thing made her little heart beat fast. Yes, but right now I am teaching you temporarily. Then wouldn't you be my substitute master? Feng Shishir covered her mouth and couldn't help but chuckle. Tang Zheng hadn't discovered that she had such a strange side to her and couldn't help but laugh. finding it very interesting. Master, please accept a bow from your disciple. She imitated the way a servant girl in ancient times would bow to her master and then couldn't help but laugh. Preposterous! How can she bow to you? She should bow to me. Tian Chanzi was very angry and shouted jealously. We are just playing around. Don't take it seriously. You really don't understand the fun. Tang Zhang choked him and Tian Chanzi quieted down again. Come, let's go into the room first. Then I will teach you the cultivation method. You must concentrate on cultivating. It's too noisy outside. Tang Zhang decided to strike while the iron was hot and lead her on the road of cultivation tonight. Chapter 124. The two entered Feng Shishi's room under the strange gazes of Feng Chonghua and Shimeng Qin, a light fragrance causing one to feel refreshed. Caret o caret, / caret o caret, / Tang Zhang had her sit down and tapped her forehead with his finger, causing the cloud water technique to appear in her mind. Feng Shishi stared in disbelief. If not for Tang Zhang repeatedly telling her to calm down, she would have jumped up. Tang Zhang guided her step by step in her cultivation, explaining the key points of the technique. Feng Shishi's comprehension ability was quite strong and she immediately understood. Following the cloud water technique, as time passed, strands of spiritual energy from the heavens and earth converged into her body, transforming into true qi that flowed through her meridians. My eyes were not wrong. She really is suited for cultivation. Before long, she will be able to reach the first grade of refining qi. Tian Chanzi was unable to contain his joy. But compared to a monster like you, she is still lacking a bit. That's right, in this world, there are only a few monsters like you. Tian Chanzi said with regret. Tang Zhang helplessly gave a bitter smile. Originally, he had read through the ancient Clear Heaven scroll once and then mysteriously reached the first grade of refining qi, which was truly abnormal. Then can she use the spirit gathering pill? Don't be in a hurry. Right now we need to lay down the foundation. It is best not to rely on external items and instead rely on her own strength to slowly build her body and solidify her foundation. This will greatly benefit her future cultivation. Tian Chanzi denied. Feng Shishi let out a breath of turbid air and opened her eyes. Her eyes were much brighter than before and she was pleasantly surprised. I can feel it. There is a stream of energy flowing through my body. It is too magical. That is true qi, the source of power. The more true qi you have, the higher your cultivation will be and the stronger your strength will be. Then I will definitely work hard to cultivate. You are currently at the 6th grade of refining qi, so I will work hard to catch up to you. Feng Shishi was filled with fighting spirit. Haha, good. However, don't give yourself too much pressure. After all, I started cultivating before you. In the future you can slowly cultivate. If you have anything you don't understand, just ask me. Feng Shishi hurriedly nodded. After a pause, she asked, Can we tell someone about this? Of course not. This is our secret. I don't know how many cultivators there are in this world. Our strength is too weak. If others find out, it's hard to guarantee that we won't be in danger. I know. I'll keep it a secret. Feng Shishi said with a smile. She and Tang Zhang were the same type of people, which undoubtedly made the bond between the two of them even more unbreakable. Then I'll go back first. Wait a minute. Feng Shishi stood up and kissed Tang Zhang on the lips. This is your reward. Go back. Tang Zhang returned home under the watchful eyes of the Feng couple. The next day, when Tang Zhang arrived at school, he was stopped by Lu Qingmei at the door of the classroom. Your injuries are better? Lu Qingmei calmly asked. Thank you, Teacher Lu, for your concern. My injuries are already better. When did you get better? Yesterday. Is that so? You've been recuperating at home these past few days? Yes. Injuries to the muscles and bones take 100 days to heal. In order to come to school earlier, I've been recuperating at home. Fortunately, my body is still quite strong, so it healed faster. Lu Qingmei stared at him as if she wanted to discern the truth of his words. Logically speaking, with 2 broken ribs, one shouldn't be able to recover so quickly. However, looking at Tang Zhang's appearance, it didn't seem like he had just recovered. It was certain that he had been recovering for several days. Lu Qingmei couldn't help but wonder if the doctor made a mistake. In short, Tang Zheng was definitely deliberately avoiding the monthly exam. The day before yesterday, I saw a good play at Shangfeng Shangshui. Lu Qingmei suddenly said. Tang Zheng was startled and looked at her in surprise. I saw on the spot that a certain person was full of spirit and didn't look like he was recuperating. Why do you think that is? Lu Qingmei calmly asked. Tang Zheng felt anger from the other's seemingly calm eyes. She must have seen through his thoughts. He couldn't help but awkwardly say, perhaps. But he couldn't think of a reason. Say it. Perhaps what? Lu Qingmei faintly smiled. Suddenly, her voice rose a few octaves. Tang Zheng, you really have big guts. You actually dared to lie to me. What did you promise me at the time? Tang Zheng was embarrassed and speechless. You don't have anything to say? You actually pretended to be sick to avoid the monthly exam. What do you think we should do? Lu Qingmei angrily said. Can we move this promise to the college entrance exam? Tang Zheng suggested. He was originally prepared to make a comeback during the college entrance exam, and then ruthlessly slap the old witch in the face and kick her out of the school. Okay, then let's move it to the college entrance exam. Were you already prepared to shock everyone during the college entrance exam? Is that why you made a bet with Wuxia? Lu Qingmei speculated. Tang Zheng laughed. Teacher Lu even guessed this. I was just wondering why you were so confident at that time. So it turns out that you were already prepared to let her fall into your trap. What a good plan. Lu Qingmei was also very surprised at Tang Zheng's plan. If it wasn't for her pressuring me step by step, I wouldn't have set this trap for her. Tang Zheng shrugged and explained. I don't care about the matter between you and her. But as punishment for deliberately cheating, in a few days you will go to a dance party with me. Dance party? Yes, I will inform you of the specific time. If you dare to break the promise again, do you believe that I won't tell Wu Zuehong and make your plan fail? Lu Qingmei threatened. Tang Zheng inwardly sighed. Since he had been caught by her, then he could only beg for mercy. Also, I am very clear about the matter between you and Feng Shishir. The fact that you accepted her house is very explosive. If you don't obediently listen to me, then I will spread the news. Hee. Then you will really become the school's enemy. Lu Qingmei said with an evil smile. Tang Zheng had never seen her smile like this before. He couldn't help but be dazzled for a moment. He immediately realized the seriousness of her words and hurriedly said, Teacher Lu, this time I will definitely not break the promise. I will definitely properly complete the task you gave me. That's more like it. Lu Qingmei patted his shoulder. That's right, accepting a woman's house is not something to be ashamed of. Don't take it too seriously. Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was actually mistaken for Xiao Bai's face. When he sat down, he was still conflicted over Lu Qingmei's misunderstanding. Should he tell her that he was not Xiao Bai's face? This misunderstanding was too big as it concerned his reputation. Forget it, I won't explain. Anyways, I don't have a good impression of her. Maybe if her impression of me was a bit worse, then she wouldn't notice me and the matter of that night would be over. He was about to let his imagination run wild when he heard Yi Dingdong's voice. Hey, you're so preoccupied this early in the morning. What are you doing? Nothing. Are your injuries better? They're better. Yi Dingdang leaned over, her face brimming with joy. Let me tell you a piece of good news. What good news? I've already broken through to the 5th grade refining body. Oh, congratulations. Tang Zheng guessed that it must be the effect of the Jade Women's Heart Sutra. Hey, don't you feel a bit disappointed? Show it, I won't laugh at you. Yi Dingdang said with a smile, unable to hide the pride between her brows. Tang Zheng scratched his head and suspiciously said, Why would I be disappointed? Haha, you still won't admit it. You're a 4th grade refining body and I'm a 5th grade refining body. Now that my cultivation is finally higher than yours, shouldn't you be disappointed? Yi Dingdang boasted. She had been dealt a heavy blow by Tang Zheng before. I haven't had the time to tell you that I'm now a 6th grade refining body. Tang Zheng lightly said. Yi Dingdong's expression immediately froze as if someone had cast a spell on her. She stared dumbstruck at Tang Zheng, wondering if she had heard wrong. After a while, she finally reacted and exclaimed, You said you're a 6th grade refining body. Seeing Tang Zhang nod his head, she was dealt a heavy blow as she exclaimed, "How is that possible? Aren't you just a 4th grade refining body? How did you reach the 6th grade refining body?" Tang Zhang shrugged his shoulders. "This means that my progress is extremely fast. Are you taking advantage of me not being able to see through your cultivation, so you deliberately lied to me?" She still could not believe this result. "Am I that bored?" Tang Zhang retorted. Yi Dingdong's face immediately turned into a bitter melon color. She had finally broken through with great difficulty and thought that she had won against him, but she did not expect that he would actually overtake her. This huge difference made her want to cry but have no tears. "Not fair, this is not fair." She slammed her book on the table with a pang sound, scaring the others as they all turned their heads to look. "I also have no other choice." Tang Zhang shrugged his shoulders, showing a helpless expression. Yi Dingdang hatefully glared at him as this was too infuriating. There was nothing more infuriating than this. Could it be that she was going to be suppressed by him and never be able to turn over? Pay. What do you mean by being suppressed by him? What are you talking about? Takashi looked at the two of them from afar and said with joy, "He made Dingdang angry. Good, as long as Dingdang is angry then his chances are small." This time he was hit by a car and recovered so quickly. The heavens really have no eyes. If only I was there at that time and crushed him a bit more. Even if he didn't die he would still be dead. Hey, since Dingdang is angry at him, then I should strike while the iron is hot and dig out his sinister and cunning side in one go. Then I will let Dingdang know his true colors. That way he will have no chance at all. Right, let's do it this way. Follow him after school and he will definitely give himself away. At this time Feng Yong also walked in. Seeing Tang Zhang, he excitedly ran over and called out his boss. "Fatty, you really should lose some weight. Look at your fat jiggling." Tang Zhang gave him a punch as he jokingly said, "Hi hey, fat can take a beating." Feng Yong did not mind. Taking a beating is not good. A man should take the initiative to attack. Tang Zhang corrected him. "I don't know martial arts. If I was as strong as boss, then I would definitely take the initiative to attack." Feng Yong said with envy. Tang Zhang's heart moved and said, "Then I will find a set of martial arts for you to practice." Feng Yong was overjoyed and excitedly shouted, "Boss, you really are my good boss. My dearest boss. Don't be disgusting. Move to the side." Tang Zhang laughed and scolded. Yi Dingdang heard that he was going to give Feng Yong a set of martial arts as if he had too much martial arts to practice. Her heart twitched as it was simply dripping blood. The difference was too big and there was no way to compare. Ding ding. A message suddenly sounded as Tang Zheng's phone received a message. "Tang Zheng, I will invite you to dinner tonight. Can you do me the honor?" Sender, Mu Hongyan. Chapter 125. Tang Zhang walked into the elegant and fresh restaurant and saw Mu Hongyan and her daughter from afar. Book group. Mu Hongyan was still mature and elegant while Nana was extremely cute. She was stretching her neck to look at the door. When she saw Tang Zhang, her eyes widened. She jumped down from the chair and ran towards him. Tang Zhang smiled as he squatted down, and Nanan threw herself into his embrace, hugged his neck, and gave him a kiss. She giggled non-stop. "Big brother godly doctor, I knew you would come to see me. Nanan is so happy." Tang Zhang smiled kindly. "I am also very happy to see Nana." "Nana, come and sit down." Mu Hongyan waved her hand and nodded at Tang Zhang. "Brother godly doctor, can you carry me over?" The little girl looked forward to it. "It's my honor." Tang Zhang picked her up. Nana excitedly hugged his neck and said with satisfaction, "Brother godly doctor's arms are so comfortable." One big and one small walked to the front of the dining table. Mu Hongyan had already stood up with a smile. "Tang Zheng, please sit." "Nanan, come down quickly." "I'm not coming down. Nana has to stay in brother's arms for a while. Otherwise, there won't be a chance in the future." Nana hugged Tang Zheng even tighter. She was like a sloth hugging a big tree, never letting go. Tang Zheng said in surprise, "How can there not be a chance in the future?" Nana pouted and said faintly, "Mom wants to bring Nana home. Nana won't be able to see brother godly doctor." Mu Hongyan explained, We just came to ordinary balance temporarily. Since Nana has recovered and the family wants to see her very much, we will go back in a few days. Today is mainly to say goodbye. Tang Zheng suddenly realized. If you come to Dianan in the future, you must remember to tell me. I will do my best as a host. Mu Hongyan said sincerely. So you are from Dianan. If I go, I will contact you. Dianan is the southernmost province of the country. It is rich in resources and pleasant scenery. It has always been a place frequented by travelers. Brother Godly Doctor, then you promise to come to see me. Let's pinky swear. Nana stared with big black eyes and said seriously. Well, I will definitely go see you. Pinky swear. Nan will wait for you. When the time comes, I'll give you good food. My family has a lot of good food. Nanan said seriously. Haha, good, Nana is so obedient. Tang Zheng couldn't help but laugh. Mu Hongyan looked at the two people and said in her heart that it was really fate. Nana rarely stuck to a person like this. If only she stayed in ordinary balance for a while. But she can't stay long. She can't wait to find out who killed Nana. Nana's suffering over the years must be repaid to the other party. After all, ordinary balance is not her territory. It is not easy to investigate these things. Moreover, when she was pregnant, she was in a coma in Dianan. Then there will be more clues in her hometown. Mu Hongyan ordered a table full of delicious delicacies, and Nan finally left Tang Zheng's embrace. She obediently sat to the side and ate, but from time to time she would turn her head to look at him, as if she was afraid that he would disappear in the blink of an eye. Senior Medicine King has already gone to the capital. I also heard about the matter between you and Old Man Yi, but I never thought that you would directly reject him. Mu Hongyan said in a low voice. Even after so many days had passed, she still couldn't hide her surprise. Tang Zheng shrugged. I have no deep hatred with him. It's just that as a superior, he is too arrogant. I don't like it. Mu Hongyan chuckled and said, Old Man Yi is a bit overbearing, but this is also the habit of people like him. You don't have to mind. In fact, I really want to thank you for everything you have done for Nana. If I hadn't met you, I can't imagine what would have happened. Tang Zheng picked up the napkin and carefully wiped the rice grains from Nana's mouth. Maybe this is the fate between Nana and me. Yes, fate is a wonderful thing. Mu Hongyan sighed and turned her head to look out the window, as if recalling something in the past. In the unseen world, everything has its own destiny. Ever since you left, I never thought that we would meet again in such a way. However, when Yi Dingdang came to my house to find the King of Medicine, she was really anxious. She anxiously dragged the King of Medicine to the hospital to treat you. I can see that she cares about you very much. Tang Zheng couldn't help but think of Yi Dingdang. This morning, he gave her a big blow. She didn't pay much attention to him the whole day. Even the intimate look between him and Feng Shishir didn't attract her attention. If it was in the past, he would definitely be ruthlessly ridiculed. She and I are friends. Tang Zheng seemed to be explaining to the other, and also seemed to be giving himself an accurate position in the bottom of his heart. Mu Hongyan smiled and said in her heart, Are they really just friends? However, she didn't ask to the bottom of the matter. She only briefly mentioned it and then changed to another topic. The two of them chatted happily. Although Mu Hongyan had a mature temperament, in fact, the two of them were only a few years apart, so they had a lot of common topics. Occasionally, Nan would interject a few words to better adjust the atmosphere, allowing this meal to end with laughter and laughter. It's already dark, I'll drive you home. Mu Hongyan pointed at the car not far away and said, No need, my house isn't very far away. It's only a few steps to walk back. Mu Hongyan didn't force her. Nana, quickly say goodbye to your brother. Brother Godly Doctor, goodbye. You must remember to come and see Nana. Nana will miss you. Nana hid in his arms again, reluctant to leave. Brother promised you, so I will definitely go. Tang Zheng put her down. And Brother Godly Doctor, goodbye. Nana took her mother's hand and walked toward the car. Tang Zheng watched the two of them get on the car and start the car. Suddenly, his eyes were cold, staring at the car. It seemed that a black shadow appeared in the back seat of the car. Tang Zheng blinked to make sure that his eyes weren't playing tricks on him. There was indeed a black shadow in the back seat of the car, but it was dozens of meters away, so Tang Zhang couldn't see it clearly. Could it be their bodyguard? Tang Zhang knew that the mother and daughter were rich and noble. The last time they were shot, several cars suddenly jumped out and a group of people chased after the murderer. Could it be that this black shadow was the bodyguard who originally sat in the car? But how could the bodyguard sit in the back seat? In the movies, the bodyguard sat in the front seat and the employer sat in the back seat. Tang Zhang had an ominous premonition. He quickly called Mu Hongyan's cell phone, but no one answered. Seeing that the car was about to turn the corner and disappear, Tang Zhang no longer hesitated. Even if he made a mistake, he still wanted to catch up and take a look. But damn it, there was no taxi here. He looked around and suddenly found a bicycle parked nearby. It was locked with a big lock on the fire hydrant. He immediately used his power and violently pulled off the big lock. Next to him, there was a person who happened to pass by and was stunned to see this scene. Tang Zhang didn't care about shocking the world. He immediately rode the bicycle and quickly caught up. The speed of the car was neither fast nor slow. Tang Zhang followed behind from a distance. He subconsciously thought that something must have happened. Maybe they were hijacked. But in any case, he would never give up if he didn't catch up and take a look. Fortunately, the quality of the bicycle was not bad. Under his feet, the speed of the bicycle was raised little by little. He continuously overtook the other drivers, which made the other drivers dumbfounded. When did the speed of a bicycle become so overbearing? A moment later, Tang Zhang caught up with the car. There was indeed an extra person in the car. The other person was covered in black clothes, so he couldn't see the person's face. It was very strange. The driver was still Mu Hongyan. Her face was calm, neither surprised nor happy, as if there was nothing strange. Tang Zhang almost thought that he was too nervous and made a fuss. But suddenly, he felt that Mu Hongyan's calm face was a little strange. It could even be said that she was stiff. She looked straight ahead and just drove in a daze, like a marionette. Yes, a marionette, this was the feeling. Tang Zhang was shocked. The bicycle quickly passed the front of the car and stopped in front of it. Tang Zhang supported himself with one foot and shouted, "Stop the car!" The speed of the car didn't slow down. From afar, he could clearly see Mu Hongyan's face. She obviously saw him, but she was indifferent. Nana also saw him, but she still acted as if she didn't know him. No, she treated everything in front of her as air and quickly crashed into it. Ah! Screams came one after another. The pedestrians looked at this scene that was tantamount to suicide. Seeing that a car accident was about to happen, many people subconsciously covered their eyes. Bang! With a loud sound, the bicycle was hit and flew into the sky. A person also flew high, but he didn't fall to the ground. Instead, like a rock spreading its wings, he stretched out his four limbs and flew to the roof of the car and stuck to it. Unbelievable! Was this a movie? Before anyone had time to react, the car suddenly sped up and disappeared from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. It was as if nothing had happened, but the bicycle that had been smashed into pieces quietly reminded everyone that everything that had happened was real. Tang Zheng lay on the roof of the car. He violently slapped the roof of the car and shouted for it to stop, but no one responded. The atmosphere was very strange. The car was as fast as lightning and finally turned into a dark alley. Screech! The brakes were slammed and the tires screeched against the ground. Tang Zhang was thrown out because of inertia. Seeing that he was about to hit the ground, he pushed his palm against the ground and rolled in the air. He quietly landed and stared at the car that was close to him. The sound of the car engine disappeared and the two big lights were turned off. There was no sound in the alley, which was very strange. The lights in the car were also turned off. It was pitch black. Tang Zhang couldn't see the situation in the car, but he wouldn't wait for death. He shouted, "Come out!" His voice was like thunder, but there was still no sound from Mu Hongyan and her daughter. Tang Zhang was even more panicked. The appearance of the mother and daughter subconsciously appeared in his mind, especially Nana's lovable appearance. He made up his mind, I can't let anything happen to them. Chapter 126. The silent confrontation made Tang Zhang very uneasy, worried that something bad would happen to Mu Hongyan and her daughter. Pose. So, regardless of the danger, He vigilantly rushed over and quickly attacked the man in black in the back seat. Bang! With a muffled sound, the car door was kicked open from the inside by a strong force, fiercely crashing into Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng dodged, but in the blink of an eye, he found that the man in black was already standing in front of the car door. The other side was still shrouded in a black coat. His face could not be seen clearly, exuding a strange atmosphere. "Who are you?" Tang Zheng vigilantly asked. "Why do you want to kidnap the mother and daughter? Who are you, daring to ruin my good thing? Are you not afraid of death?" The voice seemed a bit familiar, but Tang Zheng could not remember where he heard it. "If I was afraid of death, I would not have chased after you. What did you do to them?" Tang Zheng asked. The mother and daughter's sluggish appearance left a deep impression on him. "Of course, they fell into my bewitching spell." The man in black proudly laughed. "Bewitching spell, boy. He is a devil." Tian Chanzi was shocked, quickly reminded. Bewitching spell can control people's thoughts, making them do things according to the caster's thoughts, turning them into a puppet. "You are a devil?" Tang Zheng was also very surprised. He only heard Tian Chanzi mention the devil when he was dispelling the evil energy from Nana, and also saw the other side's sinister curse technique, leaving a deep impression on him. "Hey boy, you actually know about the devil. Are you also a cultivator?" The man in black seemed to be very surprised. Suddenly he screamed, "I finally know who you are, it's you! It's you!" Tang Zheng also shouted in unison. No wonder the other side's voice was a bit familiar. Wasn't it the voice of the python that spoke the human language? "Haha, I really searched high and low only to find you without any effort. I said I would come to find you. The heavens are really helping me. I originally planned to deal with the mother and daughter before coming to find you, but I didn't expect you to take the initiative to deliver yourself to me. Haha, then I will deal with you together." The man in black arrogantly laughed. "I also want to find you. You actually dared to lay your hands on a baby in the womb. You are really worse than a beast." Tang Zheng berated. It must be known that when the other party used the curse technique, Nan was not even born yet. "Humph, my devil's way of doing things." The man in black discontented. The black-clothed man said with dissatisfaction, "But I am very curious why there are cultivators in Chongheng City. You are the first foreign cultivator I have met. Interesting, interesting. Relax. I will not be in a hurry to kill you. I will slowly torture you and squeeze out all the secrets from your body. Killing me won't be that easy." Tang Zheng was no longer the ignorant person of the past, so how could he be afraid of him? "Tian Chanzi, what is his cultivation?" "The same as you, 6th grade refining qi." Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief. Luckily he had just increased his cultivation, otherwise he would not have been able to win against a 6th grade refining qi expert. But even if the two had the same cultivation, Tang Zheng did not dare to lower his guard. After all, this was his first time facing a real cultivator. A cultivator and a martial artist were different. The threat they posed was also different. The man in black clearly did not put Tang Zheng in his eyes, he jokingly said. "When you were able to break my curse technique, it was because the curse technique only contained a strand of my divine sense. Although I do not know how you hid your cultivation, but now that you are facing my real body, you can only die." The man in black was very arrogant. He considered everyone else beneath him. "Then let's see who's the real deal." The killing intent in Tang Zheng's heart also roared, and the two of them attacked at the same time. Their figures flashed as they exchanged blows. A black sword slid out from the man in black's sleeve. With a flash of black light, it slashed towards Tang Zheng. "Careful. This sword is a yellow-level magic weapon." Tian Chanzi cried out in alarm. "I never would have thought that he would actually have a magic weapon. I miscalculated." Tang Zheng did not care about a magic weapon. His only thought was to kill the man in black. This kind of vicious person must be exterminated. It could also be considered as revenge for Nana. The night was like water. The black sword perfectly blended in with the darkness, matching the man in black's clothes, making him look like a ghost. Tang Zheng used his bare hands. He directly used the heaven-flying immortal sword technique. Facing a normal martial artist, he could use the heaven-gathering hand, but facing a cultivator, he did not dare to be careless. So he used the most powerful heaven-flying immortal sword technique. Now he did not only know the first 15 moves. Ever since he reached the 6th grade refining qi, he comprehended 5 more moves. Now he can already use the first 20 moves of the first move. He only saw his fingers close together, like a long sword, piercing towards the man in black. Both of them used sword techniques, but the way they wielded their swords was completely different. Tang Zheng's sword technique was elegant and full of elegance, while the black-clothed man was gloomy and filled with death aura. Every slash of his sword was filled with dense yin qi. In an instant, the two of them had already exchanged over 10 moves. Their figures moved and flickered, and it was dazzling. But both of them were very orderly and didn't lose their bearings. Every single move they made was extremely dangerous. Little brat, you must not be careless. Tian Chanzi reminded, of course, this is also a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Fighting with a cultivator and fighting with a martial artist are two different concepts. Pay attention to the different experience. Tang Zhang restrained his mind. He did not dare to breathe. The man in black's attacks were endless, especially that black sword. It had a kind of power that made him tremble in fear. The power of the magic weapon was obvious. Hey, this black sword is rich in yin qi. If you snatch it and use it as your weapon, it will definitely help you. What you lack the most right now is an offensive magic weapon. Tian Chanzi was like a bandit leader, coveting the black sword. The man in black did not know that his opponent was coveting his black sword, but from the series of attacks, he could see the clues. His opponent absolutely could not be underestimated, especially this exquisite sword technique. He was quite afraid. However, his eyes gradually lit up. Without a doubt, this sword technique was an extremely exquisite sword technique, and this was what he lacked the most. His sword techniques were all ordinary, and there was no way they could be compared to this set of exquisite sword techniques. I'm going to kill him and snatch this sword technique. This brat does not even have a magic weapon. He definitely does not have any background. Maybe he was lucky and coincidentally became a cultivator. This is really a good opportunity to kill and steal. I'm going to take advantage of it. The world of cultivators was actually a world where strength was respected. If one's strength was not strong enough, it was easy to be trampled under the feet of others. For mysterious techniques or magic weapons, killing and robbing was simply a common occurrence. Just like when Tian Chanzi and Yin Mo fought for the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll, they did not hesitate to fight to the death. Of course, the man in black did not know that his magic weapon was also targeted by Tang Zheng. Otherwise he would definitely fly into a rage. Who are you? What kind of sword technique is this? The man in black asked with interest. Heaven-flying immortal. Tang Zheng already had the intention to kill, so he did not hesitate to tell the other the truth. The man in black's heart flashed a trace of doubt. He had never heard of this sword technique, but he had never heard of many sword techniques, so it was not strange. But from this name he could see that this sword technique was indeed not ordinary. Such an exquisite sword technique is simply a waste in your hands. Prepare to die. The man in black thrust his sword forward. The black sword emitted a black light. In an instant, the air seemed to be compressed to the extreme, quickly attacking Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng hurriedly went up to meet it. The black light made him feel threatened, but it also made him calmer. Magic weapons were indeed extraordinary. Pooh! Blood splattered, the black sword brushed past Tang Zheng's shoulder. Tang Zheng was injured. He was clearly at a disadvantage in this move. Humph, I've played with you enough. Now I'll let you experience my true strength. As the voice fell, the black sword's light became increasingly hot. A cold aura instantly filled the small alley, and a cold wind blew. Tang Zheng had the 9-yang saint body, so he did not feel anything strange. Instead, he felt very comfortable with this cold aura. With a leap, he pounced towards the black-clothed man. Seeing the black-clothed man raise his sword to stab at him, the black light from the sword instantly enveloped him. Countless gloomy and cold auras rushed into his 8 extraordinary meridians. A strange thought arose from the bottom of his heart, almost disturbing his mind. Careful, this black sword has the ability to disturb the mind. Tian Chanzi warned. Kill! The man in black roared, shaking the hearts of people. The black sword pierced towards Tang Zheng's chest. Suddenly, the black light trembled, and a large python drilled out from the black sword, immediately coiling around Tang Zheng's head. One above and one below, they coordinated with each other, attacking fiercely. Seeing the snake head, Tang Zheng was startled, but he did not panic. He pointed his finger, and his sword broke through the air, chopping at the black sword, blocking it. But the python had already coiled around Tang Zheng's head, and a cold aura poured into his 8 meridians, causing him to shiver. This python was clearly not a physical object, but was condensed from some kind of energy, but its killing power was not inferior to a real python. In an instant, it coiled around Tang Zheng from top to bottom, turning him into a rice dumpling. Hey, I'll let you experience the power of my black monarch snake. The man in black proudly laughed. This black monarch snake was a soul that he had painstakingly killed and collected in the black sword. His arrogance was due to the black monarch snake. Although he was only a 6th grade refining chi, he had once relied on the black monarch snake to kill a 1st grade natal realm martial artist. From this, it could be seen that the black monarch snake was much more powerful than his low-level sword techniques, and was also his greatest reliance. Hey, but in the future, with this little brat's exquisite sword techniques, together with the black monarch snake, my strength will increase by leaps and bounds, and I will even be able to contend against Master. He faintly looked forward to it, and his killing intent surged as he roared, "Black monarch snake, kill him for me!" The black monarch snake let out a sharp hiss, and opened its bloody mouth, causing a fishy smell to rush towards Tang Zheng. Its sharp fangs were clearly visible in the night, emitting an evil aura like that of a death god. It bit towards the top of Tang Zheng's head, as if it wanted to swallow him whole. Chapter 127. Seeing the bloody mouth coming down, Tang Zheng let out a loud roar, and his whole body ignited with purple flames. The black monarch snake's attack came to an abrupt halt, and it let out an ear-piercing hiss, as if it was angry, but also frightened. Look at the latest chapter bang. The sound of roasting meat was heard, and the black monarch snake's body emitted a burst of black smoke. Suddenly, as if it had seen its natural enemy, it let go of Tang Zheng and tried to escape back into the black sword. The black-robed man turned pale with fright. He had never seen such a strange thing. Seeing the black monarch snake fleeing in panic, he subconsciously retreated half a step, and then he saw an unforgettable scene. Tang Zheng's body was covered in flames, and he was like a fire god. His hands reached out and grabbed the black monarch snake's head, and immediately, the sound of roasting meat was heard again. The black monarch snake continued to roar as it continuously retreated, its large tail smashing into the ground, creating a deep trench, yet it was unable to escape from Tang Zheng's hands. Tang Zheng roared as he used all of his strength to open the black monarch snake's mouth and forcefully tore it apart. Puff! The black monarch snake split into two, turning into strands of black smoke. With a wave of his hand, Tang Zheng's flaming hands wrapped around the black smoke. The black smoke quickly entered his body, turning into pure yin energy that disappeared into his meridians. The black monarch snake was originally formed from the soul, and was a yin qi. Tang Zheng's body needed pure yin qi to balance, so he did not waste it and kept it for his own use. Of course, the black monarch snake's pure yin qi had a lot of impurities, and could not be compared to the pure yin qi he absorbed from Feng Shishi's body, but it was still better than nothing. The black-robed man looked at Tang Zheng as if he had seen a ghost. The black monarch snake was his trump card, but it was killed by Tang Zheng just like that, and even absorbed. "You? What kind of cultivation technique are you cultivating?" The black-robed man asked in fear. "You don't have the qualifications to know." Tang Zheng's killing intent soared, and the flames on his body disappeared, returning to his sea of consciousness. His clothes were not burned, because he had specially separated a part of his true qi to protect his clothes, otherwise, he would become naked. In fact, all of this was just a move he had suddenly thought of when he was about to fall apart. Who would have thought that a grade 1 true fire would be so awesome, to actually be able to kill the black monarch snake in an instant? How could a grade 1 true fire kill the black monarch snake? No, true fire is used to refine pills, how could it be used to attack? The black-robed man was still immersed in a huge shock. Even the current heaven monk was still immersed in shock. The old man who had lived for over 1,000 years also had the same doubts as the black-clothed man. In the cultivation world, no one had ever used true fire to attack. Instead, they used it for alchemy. It seemed that from the moment true fire was discovered, it had been labeled as an alchemy tool. Even if someone used a fire attribute attack, it would not be true fire. Instead, it would be using a magic treasure to transform one's own true qi into a fire attribute attack. In short, Tang Zheng had unintentionally subverted common sense. Only he, who had become a monk halfway through his life, and the heaven monk had not instilled any knowledge in him, would suddenly think of using the true fire to attack, and even inexplicably succeed. At this moment, Tang Zheng's fighting spirit had risen to an unprecedented level. Staring at the black-robed man, his killing intent soared, Go die. Heaven Flying Immortal. This attack was condensed with his aura and that high fighting spirit, allowing him to instantly appear in front of the black-robed man. With a tap of his finger, pu, the air seemed to ripple, and it was a level higher than his previous attack. The black-robed man subconsciously retreated. He was really frightened by the scene just now. Battered and exhausted, he raised his sword to block. However, Tang Zheng's figure flashed, cleverly avoiding the sword. His finger had already pointed at the black-robed man's chest. Poof! An arrow of blood shot out from his back. He looked at his chest in disbelief. There was a bloody hole in his chest. The true qi in Tang Zheng's finger was like a sharp sword, instantly tearing apart the black-robed man's flesh and piercing his heart. The black-robed man looked at Tang Zheng in horror. The vitality in his eyes was rapidly fading. He struggled to raise the black sword to counterattack. However, how could Tang Zheng give him the chance? He smoothly grabbed the black sword and placed it on the black-robed man's neck. You actually won. How is this possible? The first strange practitioner I met killed me. I refuse to accept this. A low growl came from his mouth. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Speak quickly. Who are you? Do you have any accomplices? Tang Zheng coldly asked. Accomplices? The black-robed man's voice suddenly rose a few octaves. You killed me and caused a great disaster. My master will avenge me. You're dead. You're about to die and you still dare to threaten me. Even if you don't say, I have a way to find out. Tang Zheng immediately used the soul-searching technique. The black-robed man screamed, Soul-searching technique. You actually know the soul-searching technique. Who are you? Tang Zheng clearly felt that the black-robed man was resisting his soul-searching technique. However, this resistance was getting weaker and weaker. He wouldn't be able to hold on for long. At that time, he would be able to find out the secret in his mind. You want to know my secret? No way. Just wait for your death. My master will avenge me. The black-robed man's voice came to an abrupt end. His neck tilted and he fell to the ground. He was dead. There was no way to use the soul-searching technique on a dead person. The black-robed man obviously knew this, so in the end, when he knew that he wouldn't live for long, he killed himself so that Tang Zheng wouldn't be able to pry into his secret. Tang Zheng looked at the corpse in surprise. He couldn't help but feel some regret. However, he also felt some fear. Especially, who was the master that the black-robed man mentioned? Even a disciple is so powerful. Then the master must not be weak. I am definitely not the opponent's match. This is really troublesome. He frowned, but he wasn't too afraid. He would deal with whatever came his way. At the very least, he couldn't be afraid before fighting. That wasn't his style. He squatted down and removed the hood on the black-robed man's head. He finally saw his true appearance. His appearance was very ferocious. An ordinary person would definitely have nightmares if they saw him. However, Tang Zheng didn't feel anything. He began to search the black-robed man's body, hoping to find some clues. After searching for a long time, he didn't find anything. Tang Zheng picked up the black sword and carefully examined it. The black sword was 30 centimeters long. No wonder it could be hidden in his sleeve. The body of the sword was completely black without any decorations. It looked ordinary and even a little ugly. He didn't expect it to be a magical treasure. Kid, in the future when you have this magical treasure, your strength will greatly increase when you use Heaven Flying Immortal. If you meet an expert, you won't be as passive as you are now. Tian Chanzi said happily. Tian Chanzi, don't be happy too early. If I assassinate him, his master and even his sect will definitely come. If it's just one person, then it's fine. But if it's a large group of people, I'm afraid I won't even know how I died. Tang Zheng said solemnly. Tian Chanzi laughed mischievously. What are you afraid of? Don't you have me? The sooner you find a carrier for me, the sooner I'll be reborn. I'll directly help you deal with those small fries. Tang Zheng's heart moved. Didn't he have Tian Chanzi as a helper? Indeed, he didn't have to worry too much. It seemed that the most important thing now was to find a carrier for Tian Chanzi. This demon is so poor that he doesn't even have a single valuable treasure on him. He can't be from a big sect, so you don't have to worry too much. Tian Chanzi comforted. Tang Zheng nodded and walked towards the car without saying a word. He found that Mu Hongyan and Nana were still dumbstruck. They were staring ahead with their eyes wide open, as if they hadn't heard anything that was happening outside. How do I deal with this great hypnosis technique? Tang Zheng could only ask Tian Chanzi for help. The great hypnosis technique is a good technique, and it's the foundation of cultivating the puppet technique. However, this kid only knows a little bit. At most he can control the thoughts of ordinary people. But if it's used for too long, it will indeed cause harm to the human body. Tian Chanzi showed off his professional knowledge. Tang Zheng hurriedly urged, since it will cause harm, don't keep me in suspense. Quickly tell me how to deal with it. Tian Chanzi didn't beat around the bush. He taught him how to deal with it. After a while, the mother and daughter returned to their senses as if they had just woken up from a dream. Tang Zheng, why are you in the car? Mu Hongyan was surprised to see Tang Zheng sitting in the backstage. Wow, brother godly doctor. I see you again. Are you reluctant to part with Nana? Nana quickly climbed to the back seat and leaned into his arms. She was very surprised. Let's get out of here first, Tang Zheng said without batting an eyelid. Mu Hongyan stared blankly as she had already heard some clues. She vigilantly looked around and saw the black-clothed man lying on the ground. She was frightened and almost screamed. But after all, she was a person who had seen big storms and big waves. She calmed down in an instant. Did something happen? Tang Zheng nodded and pointed to Nana and said, let's go first. We'll talk about it later. He didn't want Nana to see the black-clothed man's body. It would leave a psychological shadow on her. Mu Hongyan understood. She gratefully looked at Tang Zheng. Then she started the car and drove out of the alley. Only the black-clothed man's body was left lying quietly in the same place. Call someone to deal with it. Tang Zheng pointed to the alley and said. Mu Hongyan understood what he meant. She immediately called someone to deal with the body. Presumably, she would also start an investigation on the body. Nana didn't realize that she had just brushed shoulders with death. She hugged Tang Zheng's neck and said in a childish voice, brother godly doctor, come back to my hometown with me. Nana will play with you every day. Tang Zheng stroked her smooth black hair like a big brother next door and said, I still have to go to school. Go to school? Nana tilted her head. Nana's body wasn't good before, so I never went to school. Now that Nana is better, can I also go to school? Mu Hongyan squeezed out a smile and said, of course you can. When we go back, I'll arrange for you to go to school. You have to follow your brother's example and study hard. Do you understand? Nana nodded seriously. I'll follow brother godly doctor's example. I want to get a little red flower. I see other children getting a little red flower at school. Nana will definitely get a lot of little red flowers because Nana is the most obedient and the smartest. Tang Zheng couldn't help but hug her tighter. She was like a little angel. Tang Zheng would never allow anyone to hurt her. The three returned home and left Nana in the care of Mama Lu. Then under her shocked eyes, Tang Zheng and Mu Hongyan entered the bedroom together. After her husband passed away, no man had ever entered her bedroom. Chapter 128. Mu Hongyan's bedroom has an indescribable fragrance that seems to make people's minds wander. But what caught Tang Zheng's attention the most was the words hanging on the wall. To be precise, there were only two large words. Under the heavens. Under the heavens. This was such a large word. If it was a man's room that hung these two words, he wouldn't be too shocked. At most, he would say that the owner had the world in his heart. But Mu Hongyan was a woman who didn't know martial arts, so these two words were particularly eye-catching. More importantly, it was hung in her bedroom as if it was constantly reminding her of it. Lying on the bed, he could clearly see this and a majestic feeling hit him in the face. Tang Zheng didn't know how she fell asleep every night facing these two words. Mu Hongyan gestured for him to sit on the only chair, while she sat on the bed. Following his gaze, her expression did not change in the slightest as she calmly asked, what do you think of these two words? The concept is too big. Tang Zheng spoke the truth. It was said that men had the world in their heart, swallowing mountains and rivers. But in today's peaceful times, how many men had this kind of heart and boldness? Even if Tang Zhang was a cultivator and not a mortal, he still didn't have this kind of thought. I like it. Mu Hongyan looked at it with infatuation. My late husband also liked it. At this moment, her temperament was completely different from usual. She lacked a trace of gentleness and motherly nature, but gained an indescribable feeling that seemed to perfectly blend with the two words. He must have been a very amazing person. Tang Zheng sighed. Mu Hongyan didn't comment. A person dying is like a lamp being extinguished. Everything is gone with the wind. Tang Zheng was speechless. Mu Hongyan withdrew her gaze and looked at Tang Zheng. Her gaze became more dignified and sharp. Can you tell me what exactly happened? Tang Zheng then narrated the discovery of the clues, the pursuit of the car, and the final battle with the black-clothed men. However, he did not mention the battle between the demon race and the black monarch snake. After all, he was still unwilling to reveal his identity as a cultivator to the public. At most, he would give the other party the impression that he was a martial artist. Why did Nan Nan and I lose consciousness? Just like you said, we were even at the mercy of the black-clothed man? Mu Hongyan instantly grasped the crux of the matter. This was something that had never happened before, and it was too strange. Tang Zheng had already thought of an excuse. Maybe the other party used some kind of drug. I'm not too sure. Mu Hongyan looked at Tang Zheng with a burning gaze. She didn't force him, but she seemed to want to get more information from his eyes. However, Tang Zheng's expression didn't change, and he didn't send out any additional information. I suspect that this person is in cahoots with the people who harmed Nana. Maybe after they found out that Nana had recovered, they sent people to kill her again. Tang Zheng deliberately said. In fact, it wasn't considered misleading. They were in cahoots, but he concealed the matter of the demon race. Mu Hongyan nodded, agreeing with this statement. I will investigate this matter and see if I can find any clues from the black-clothed men. I hope so. Tang Zheng didn't have much hope. The black-clothed men were cultivators, so they would definitely be good at hiding their secrets. They would even protect their secrets with their lives. It would be too difficult for outsiders to find out their secrets. Mu Hongyan's expression clearly relaxed. Tang Zheng, this time you saved us mother and daughter again. I don't know how to thank you. These were sincere words. This kind of life-saving grace was too difficult to repay. Tang Zheng smiled and said, Nana calls me brother. Of course I have to protect her. You don't have to mind. Mu Hongyan revealed a smile. Nana is really lucky to have you as a brother. But we are going back to Dianan soon. I don't know when we will see each other again. I will find time to see Nana. Don't worry. Well, then I look forward to your arrival. The two of them went out of the bedroom. Under Mama Lu's strange gaze, Tang Zheng said goodbye and left. Mu Hongyan stared at the door in a daze for a while before she came back to her senses. After that, Tang Zheng's days returned to normal. He went to school during the day and went on dates with Fang Shishir at night. Yi Dingdang was unhappy. Tang Zheng didn't care too much, but he got a set of martial arts from Tian Chanzi and taught it to Feng Yong. Tian Chanzi was not stingy with martial arts. It seemed that he didn't care much about these martial arts. However, Tang Zheng didn't notice that a strange gaze was staring at him from a distance, full of fear. For the past few days, Gao Daji could not bear to leave. Occasionally he would mutter to himself, his eyes lifeless, "Monster, monster!" Moreover, he deliberately avoided Tang Zheng. Whenever Tang Zheng's eyes inadvertently swept over him, he would immediately lower his head and shiver, as if he had seen something terrible. He had indeed seen something extremely terrifying. That night, he had clearly seen the scene of Tang Zheng chasing the car and fighting with the black-clothed man. In order to find something that could be used against Tang Zheng so that he could report it to Yi Dingdang, he secretly followed Tang Zheng. He saw him talking and laughing with a very beautiful woman in a restaurant. He was so excited that he thought that he had found something that could be used against Tang Zheng. He hurriedly took pictures and videos secretly, preparing to show them to Yi Dingdang to prove how fickle Tang Zheng was. Later, he saw Tang Zheng riding a bicycle and chasing a car. He was also safe and sound after being hit by a car. He recorded it all. He hoped that Tang Zheng would be hit by a car and die. When he saw the scene in the alley later, he was completely stunned. Although it was a little far away and the light in the alley was not very good, he still had a rough idea of what was going on. Moreover, he had recorded it. When he saw Tang Zheng fighting with a python, and his body was on fire, but he was safe and sound, he almost screamed. This was a fact that no ordinary person could accept. Monster. Takashi could only define Tang Zheng as a monster to explain these strange things. It turned out that his opponent was a monster. No wonder he couldn't win against him. This also explained why Xiaofan was in a vegetative state. He felt a lingering fear. This monster had already surpassed the limits of human strength. All of his actions were pale and powerless. He was unable to harm the other in the slightest. On the contrary, if he had attracted Tang Zheng's attention, would he have been killed like the black-clothed man? Thinking of the man in black, he remembered that face. After Tang Zheng and Mu Hongyan left, Takashi boldly ran over to check the scene. When he saw the man in black's ferocious face, he was so scared that he fell to the ground. After a long time, he came back to his senses. He gathered his courage and searched the man in black's body, as if he wanted to figure out the other party's identity. But in the end, it was futile. He couldn't find anything. When he heard that someone was coming, he panicked and left the scene. After returning home, those terrifying scenes often appeared in his mind. He didn't even dare to look at the video. He casually threw it in a corner. He never wanted to see that scene again. But that night, he still had a dream. In the dream, Tang Zheng was like a man on fire trying to catch him. The man in black's ferocious face also appeared in his dream. That face seemed to be smiling at him. These days, he had nightmares about Tang Zheng and that ferocious face. In the end, that ferocious face appeared more frequently than Tang Zheng. It made his spirit become dispirited. He listlessly lay on the table, hiding from Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng didn't know that he had inadvertently frightened Takashi. He didn't have the mind to pay attention to Takashi. He was now worried about Tian Chanzi's carrier. The carrier was a dead person, but it couldn't be an ordinary dead person. If it was a person who died of old age, their body would be too weak and would be useless. But young people died in accidents. Their bodies weren't complete and couldn't be used. In the end, the two of them discussed for a long time and decided to go to the morgue. Maybe they could find a satisfactory one. Tonight was the trip to the morgue. After school, he said goodbye to Feng Shishir and walked to the hospital under the cover of the night. Most of the morgues in the hospital were in the basement. It was gloomy and horrible. For ordinary people, this was a place that they didn't want to set foot in. But for today's Tang Zheng, he didn't have such a big psychological barrier. He was still quite brave. Isn't it a joke if practitioners are afraid of ghosts? This was Tian Chanzi's original words. Tang Zheng was even more embarrassed to show fear. Otherwise, Tian Chanzi would definitely laugh at him. At night, there were fewer people in the hospital, so Tang Zheng quietly went to the basement. A gloomy aura hit him in the face, especially when he saw the words morgue not far away. It was as if it had a magical power that made people feel a deep sense of fear when they saw it, but they couldn't help but look over. The people on duty had already gone home. The basement was empty. Only the sound of Tang Zheng's footsteps echoed around. Listening to it gave people a creepy feeling. Tang Zheng pushed the door and entered. A gust of cold air hit him, and the temperature suddenly dropped a few degrees. He couldn't help but shiver. Suddenly, he felt a tremor on his back. He was shocked. There was no one around. What was trembling on his back? He wasn't scared at first, but in this environment, he was scared by the sudden movement and his nerves were tense. It was like watching a horror movie. You know it's fake, so you don't have to be scared. But when you combine it with the environment and the music, you can't help but feel scared. The environment can really affect people's senses. Tang Zheng slowly turned his head and opened his eyes wide. What was behind him? Was it a female ghost with a long tongue and disheveled hair? There was nothing. Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief, but his heart immediately tensed up as he felt the trembling on his back. Moreover, it was becoming clearer and clearer, so it was definitely not his imagination. F***CK. What's there to be scared of? I'm a practitioner. It's a joke to be scared of ghosts. Moreover, the guy in my head is also a ghost. Tang Zheng kept reminding himself that he was no longer as scared as before. He suddenly turned around, but the huge morgue was still empty. Not even a shadow could be seen. Are you kidding me? This ghost is too boring. Tang Zheng was inexplicably angry. He shouted, I don't care what kind of ghost you are. Get out of here, or I won't let you go. The tremor came again. This time it was more intense, as if something was going to rush out. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.